A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
This I believe. George L. Killian, who is now president of the American President Steamship Lines, was born, appropriately enough, in Steamboat Springs, Colorado. He has been, among other things, a newspaper reporter, public relations consultant, commissioner of the Golden Gate International Exposition, director of finance of the state of California, and a U.S. Army major on the staff of the Allied military government. These are some of the things George Killian's broad experience has taught him to believe.
An early impression of childhood, which in reality became a code of conduct, grows more impressive as I pass through each new day. The importance of my relationships with other people, and my understanding of them, and hence my understanding of life itself. The impression of which I speak developed through a very close and very warm relationship with my father, with whom as a youth I herded cattle, harvested crops, and answered the many demands of a stock ranch in western Colorado. There was always evident an eagerness on the part of my father to withhold judgment in respect to those who differed with him, and an equal desire to try to understand thoroughly their point of view as well as his own. Often he would tell me that the capacity to enjoy life, the ability to promote personal happiness and progress, depended to a very great extent on the quality of one's relationship with other people. He told me that to be able to enjoy progress, peace, and fulfillment, one must first achieve a better understanding, a clearer appreciation of the positive, the good qualities in others, but above all, to strive to reflect in one's own life, to give out even more of the good than may be found or sought in others. My desire to open my mind to the point of view of other people does not necessarily imply nor mean full or even partial agreement with the opinions so expressed. Regardless of how dissimilar my own views might be to theirs, a realization of the purity of their intent has brought to me as one individual many deep and satisfying rewards. The more smoothly I learned to work with people, the easier it became for me to achieve the objectives I had set for myself. While all life in one way or another is a contest, I soon found that a positive attitude toward people was in turn reflected by their confidence and their trust in me. I found also that peace of mind inevitably followed when I learned not to prejudge, look first at the point of view of the others, and then re-examine my own. Later, when I was privileged to direct the work of others, I learned, as my father demonstrated to me, not to expect more of them than I myself was willing to give. By demanding of myself a high standard of performance, it was more natural that those under my guidance responded in kind. My belief, therefore, may easily and simply be stated in the words of one of the greatest of the divine truths: "Whatsoever ye would that men should do to you, do ye even so to them." The golden rule applied to each contact, with each person, on each problem of everyday life, was the pattern of human understanding my father set for me, so carefully interpreted to me as a boy, and so devoutly followed all of his life. The pattern did not fail my father, and it has not failed me. It cannot fail. This I believe.
That was the creed of George L. Killian of Oakland, California, a shipping executive whose sympathy toward others has yielded deep and lasting satisfaction.
The Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation brings you Crime Photographer.
Say, Mr. Marvin, who do you think will go to the Rose Bowl this year?
Well, I don't know, Ethelbert.
Do you think the weather will turn any colder, Tony?
Well, I can't say, Casey.
Tony, you like skirts the way they are this year? Or do you think they should be shorter?
Can't answer that one, Ann.
Tony, haven't you anything to say this evening?
Oh, definitely, Casey. Anchor Hawking is the most famous name in glass. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Tony Marvin. Every week at this time, the Anchor Hawking Glass Corporation of Lancaster, Ohio, and its more than 10,000 employees bring you another adventure of Casey, crime photographer, ace cameraman who covers the crime news of a great city. Written by Alonzo Dean Cole, our adventure for tonight, The Camera Bug. Mid-afternoon, the photographic department of the Morning Express. Casey sits sprawled at his battered desk, wearing the scowl of a man who began his day with a dull razor and cold coffee. The door opens and a young man enters.
Excuse me, Mr. Casey in?
Yeah, that's me.
My name's Forster, Mr. Casey. Alan Forster. I've heard a lot about you.
Yeah, I know. I'm on all the sucker lists. What are you selling?
Oh, nothing. That is, well, you see, I'm a photographer.
Huh? Who isn't? Sometimes I think every guy in the world is a camera bug. What's on your mind? Looking for a job?
Yeah.
See the city editor. His name's Burke. Fourth floor above here.
Well, I've already seen Mr. Burke, and he says there aren't any vacancies here.
Oh.
I've been to all the other papers, too. I thought you might advise me how to get a start.
How old are you?
21.
You got a job now?
I work in a camera supply store. I know a lot about taking pictures, honest I do. And, well, my wife and I decided that it's time for me to break into the line I've always wanted. And
you got a wife? You got a job with regular hours, and you want to break into my kind of racket?
Yeah.
Oh, boy. My advice is forget it. This is the lousiest game there is. You're out at all hours. People shove you around. You can risk your hide to get a good shot, and the city desk may stick it on page 10, if it's used at all. This is a dog's life, kid. Keep out of it.
Yeah, but you get around and you see things.
Oh, you see things. I guess you believe all you hear on the radio. Huh? Well, okay, camera bug. Here's the only way I know how to break in. You put in about 12 hours a day on the streets with your eyes open and your camera ready. Occasionally, you'll get a news picture you can sell. If you're lucky, you may get a real hot shot that you can trade to the city editor for a steady job. But you've got to be lucky. Huh? That's all I can tell you.
Oh, thanks a million, Mr. Casey. I'll do exactly as you say.
If you do, you're letting yourself in for a lot of grief. Excuse me, man. Hello.
This is Ann, Casey. You busy?
Not very.
Oh, I got an awful cold. How about going over to the Blue Note?
I'll meet you there in 5 minutes.
Okay.
Gee, you got to rush somewhere in 5 minutes. That means an important assignment, huh?
Yeah, very important.
Well, I won't keep you, but thanks again a lot.
Good luck to you, kid. What's your name again?
Forster. Alan Forster.
Well, so long, Alan. Drop in again sometime, and remember, I've warned you. Guys in this racket lead a dog's life. Another small beer, Ethelbert. How about you, Annie? Something's good for your cold, huh?
No. I feel fine now, Casey. We've been here half an hour. We better go back to the office.
Annie sounds like a frog. Well, don't worry, Froggy. City desk knows where we are. Burke will phone if anybody calls or anything comes up.
Pretty soft for you two, I'd say. Wished I was in a business where I could take time off in the middle of an afternoon.
Hey, listen to this guy, Annie, will you?
You should have the kind of job we have, Ethelbert.
That's right.
Sure. I hear you crabbing about it all the time. But you should endure what us bartenders goes through. How'd you like to wash and wipe 1 million glasses every day? And flush out the beer pipes? And answer the... Yeah. Oh, excuse me, the telephone.
Yeah.
Blue Note Cafe, Ethelbert speaking. Hey, there, here, Mr. Burke. Just a minute.
Uh-oh.
Your city desk, Casey.
All right, give me. Casey speaking. Now, Bert, we're not always here. It just seems like always. Okay. Yeah, I got it. 12th Street, just south of Locust. Homicide Bureau's already on the job, huh? Well, you know, when you get a delayed report like this, we can't bring you anything that everybody else hasn't already gotten ahead of us. Okay, we're on our way. Goodbye.
What is it, Casey?
Come on, Annie. We got to see what some shooting's about.
Shooting?
Yep, slight case of murder, Ethelbert. Goodbye, pal.
So long.
Say, Casey, you didn't pay. Oh, well, bartending's a dog's life.
Hey, they got the street roped off.
Yeah, we'll leave the car here, Annie. Come on.
They're lifting a stretcher into the morgue
I
there.
gotta get a shot of that.
Okay. Well, that means the medical examiner's finished his
Now,
job.
let's get inside those lines. Will you let us
Okay.
through, please?
Oh, there's Sergeant Flanagan.
Hey, Flanagan. Oh, hey, Casey.
Hi.
Hello, Miss Williams.
Hi.
You two are getting here kind of late, aren't you?
Now, don't rub it in.
Hey, who did they just haul away in that meat wagon? The not too much lamented murder victim was a gent unfavorably known as Max Blake.
Max Blake.
The lawyer?
Oh, don't let decent lawyers hear you call him that, Miss Williams. Max Blake was a shyster. That rat wasn't even straight with his own clients. Well, the cops know who killed him? We not only know who killed him, but we've already got the mugs who did it. This case is all sewed up.
Yes, Sergeant. Let's have the details so I can get them to my paper.
Okay. According to eyewitnesses, the late Max Blake, who just stepped out of the barber shop behind us here, suddenly flopped in the middle of the sidewalk about where you're standing now. At the same time, a gunshot was heard, and a second later, a green sedan which had been standing across the street started away in such a big hurry that it crashed into the back of a truck, only a few feet away from the traffic cop on the corner. Who do you think they were?
Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny, huh?
They were Butch Silver and Tony Russo.
Boy, they're a nice pair of hot shots.
Two of the sweetest gorillas in town.
And you've got them dead to rights, Sergeant?
I've told you and Casey all I'm allowed to say now to the newspapers. You'll have to get anything else from Captain Logan.
Yeah, where is Logan, by the way?
In the back room of the barber shop there, questioning witnesses.
All right, come on, Andy. Let's go in.
Wait a minute, Casey. Nobody goes in there.
Now, Flanagan.
I got my orders, Casey.
Look, you and I are pals.
Sure, but you keep out of that barber shop, pal.
Is that nice?
It's what goes. Now, if you'll be a nice guy, Casey, and won't try any tricks to get where you're not wanted, as you've done too many times before, I'd give Miss Williams a tip.
A tip?
Oh, it's not anything I'm not allowed to tell you, understand? It's just something I forgot to mention to the other newspaper boys and girls.
All right, it's a deal, Flanagan. No tricks.
What's the tip?
One of the witnesses to the shooting is quite an important guy.
Who?
Richard M. Krager.
What, the contractor?
Biggest in town.
Yeah, I interviewed Clago when he got the city paving contract last year. His offices are somewhere around here.
Right across the street.
Yeah, of course. I recognize the funny old-fashioned building now. The only elevator it's got is hidden in back of the stairs. Of course, I couldn't find it. I had to walk up to Clago's office on the third floor.
Say, Flanagan, did Clago see those gorillas in the car shoot Blake?
Well, he says that. Oh, here he comes out of the barber shop. You can ask him yourself.
Oh, Mr. Clago. I'm Ann Williams of the Morning Express. We met last year.
Oh, yes. How do you do, Miss Williams?
Hold it, will you?
Huh?
Thanks. I hope you don't mind my snapping a picture of you, Mr. Clago.
Well, no, not at all.
Mr. Clago, will you give us an eyewitness account of what happened?
Well, as I just told Captain Logan in there, I happened to be at the window of my private office just across the street when the shot was fired.
Oh, your private office is on the third floor, as I remember, right?
That's right. I saw this man Blake fall. Then I saw a green sedan start up and crash into a truck. I hurried out to the elevator. The operator brought me downstairs. I saw the man in the sedan arrested, and, well, that's all.
Well, did you see the shot fired from the sedan?
No, I can't say that, Miss Williams. But the sedan is obviously where the bullet came from. The medical examiner says it must have been fired from about 5 feet above the street level, which means the killer sat in an automobile or stood on the sidewalk or street.
Yeah, only one shot was fired. Huh?
That's all. Mr.
Casey's the name.
Both gorillas in that sedan are dead shots, Casey.
Sergeant Flanagan, come in here.
Oh, yes, sir. Captain Logan wants me. I'll see you later.
Yeah, tell Logan I want to see him, Sarge, will you?
Mr. Casey. Mr. Casey.
Huh?
I'm Alan Forster. You remember we were talking?
Sure, kid. But what were you doing in that barber shop?
I was a witness to the shooting. Wasn't I, Mr. Clago? The police questioned us both.
That's right, young man.
I did as you told me, Mr. Casey. I was on the spot when things happened, and I had a camera with me. And I got 2 shots of that Blake fella from almost where we're standing now.
One almost as I heard the gun fired, and the other right after he hit the ground.
You didn't tell the police about taking any pictures.
Oh, no, Mr. Clagle. I wanted Casey to have these shots. I've got hot stuff, haven't I, Casey? Exclusive news pictures, the kind that'll get me a job on the Express?
Now, well, let's get to my office, develop your film, and see just what you got.
Oh, no, let me develop the film at home, Mr. Casey. I'd like to do a complete job on it.
Well, all right, but blow them up to 8 by 10 and be sure to use a fine-grained developer.
You'll see the kind of job I can do. I'll have the prints at your office inside of 45 minutes.
Oh, which way is your home, young man?
I live on Nelson Street, Mr. Clagle.
Oh, good. I'm going in that direction. My car's around the corner. I'll drop you off.
Oh, that'll be swell.
Oh, Mr. Clago. Yes, Captain Logan. I want to ask you a few more questions. Will you come back into the barber shop, please?
Well, I have important business to attend to, Captain.
There's nothing so important as this murder right now. Come in, please.
Well, I'll have to do as you say, of course. Now, when do Miss Williams and I get in there, Logan?
So you two are here.
We've been waiting for hours.
I'll beat it quick, Mr. Casey. See you at the Express.
Okay, fella.
I'll be waiting just a minute, Mr. Clago. And why have you and Casey been waiting, Miss Williams?
Logan, when you start clowning right after a murder, it means you got an airtight case.
Well, it isn't quite that yet, Casey. I've got some loose ends to tie up.
Oh, what are they?
Well, the medical examiner took a .38 caliber slug out of Blake's body. And we found guns on both of the hoods that were in that sedan, but they were .45s.
Well, they must have thrown the murder gun away.
Sure they did. Somebody picked it up, of course, and hasn't turned it in.
Well, they tried a fast getaway. That's ample indication of their guilt.
How about motive?
Almost anyone had a motive to kill Max Blake. He was an all-around louse. Yeah, it's going to take a lot more work than I first expected. Seems I never get an easy case. We cops lead an absolute dog's life, Casey.
Our story will continue in just a moment. You know, Alex, I really like good, wholesome beer and ale.
So do I, Tony.
But there's one thing that's always bothered me, and that's the way empty bottles clutter up the back porch and basement.
And that's one of the big reasons for the new Anchor Glass one-way no-deposit bottle.
Oh, you're right, Alex. You never have to bother about returning empties to the store.
When the bottle is empty, you get rid of it as you would any other food container.
And you don't have to bother about deposits. No more fussing with extra pennies.
And the new Anchor Glass one-way no-deposit bottle is a glass bottle. And because it's a glass bottle, it brings you beer and ale that tastes as beer and ale should taste.
Clean, clear, sparkling, unaffected by any foreign flavors.
No cloudiness, no discoloration. Beer that's brewery bright.
Is it any wonder that the new Anchor Glass one-way no-deposit bottle is sweeping America? For perfect flavor, demand beer in glass bottles. For extra convenience, demand your favorite brand in the new Anchor Glass one-way no-deposit bottle. A product of Anchor Hocking. The most famous name in glass.
I've got the prints for you, Mr. Casey. Told you I'd have them here in your office inside of 45 minutes.
Yeah, you're a fast worker, Al.
Oh, I'd have made it even sooner if a guy hadn't stopped me outside your building. Guy wanted to buy the pictures.
Who?
Oh, he's from another paper, the Globe. He offered me $200 for the shots I got.
Well, how did the Globe know that you...
Well, he said somebody who saw me take them tipped off a Globe reporter.
Well, that could happen, all right, I guess.
But I wouldn't let him even see what I've got. These pictures are yours.
Yeah, well, don't say that until we talk to City Desk. Burke might not go $200 worth.
Oh, I don't care about that. It's a job I want.
Now, let's see your prints. Come on.
Yeah, here.
Mm-hmm. Nice work, fella. You can really see Blake starting his fall in this one. The body's sagging, growing limp.
Yeah, he just hit the ground in this one. I shot it as quick as I could wind the film and focus.
Hey, these are worth $200 and a steady job here besides. Come on, we're going upstairs to Burke, and I'm going to tell him just that.
Well, $100 for the two pictures is my limit, Casey. And we don't need any new staff photographers.
Burke, no other paper in town will have these shots. They're worth every cent of the $200 the Globe has already offered, and we can use this young fella.
Are you telling me how to run this paper?
It's okay, Mr. Casey. I'll take the $100.
Now, you're crazy if you do, Alan.
You seem to be acting as this young man's agent rather than as an employee of the Express, Casey. What's to be your rake-off on this deal?
What? You don't mean that, do you, Burke?
No. But 100 is tough.
Come on, kid, let's go.
Okay.
Casey, you know I didn't...
Sure, but someday you'll make one of your darn nuts to you.
Oh, gee, Mr. Casey, I'm terribly
Never
sorry.
mind. All right. I told you this newspaper racket was a dog's life, fellow. Now maybe you believe me. Take these pictures to the Globe and get you $200.
Well, I hate...
Well, you'd be crazy to do anything else. Did you, make any extra prints of those shots?
Yeah, 2 of each.
Well, could I have the extras? I won't use them, of course. Just that they're nice, clean camera jobs. I'd like them to remember Bert by.
Sure, here they are.
Thanks. Now, take the others to your Globe guy right now. In this racket, a guy has to sell to the highest bidder. I tell you, it's a dog's life.
Casey, you've been sitting at this bar for over 2 hours now. Ain't you ever going back to work?
Well, not sure I am, Ethelbert, at the Express.
Oh, now stop being sore at Bert. You know he's pretty decent sort underneath.
Underneath. And I'm tired of digging underneath Bert to look for his good points. You know, for 2 cents, I'd go over to the Globe myself and strike Curtis for a job. Now, there's a city editor who knows values, and he's also an okay guy, too.
Well, thank you very much, Casey.
Huh?
Mr. Curtis.
Hello, Miss Williams. And when do you want to start to work on the Globe, Casey?
Well, I haven't exactly made up my mind to make any change, Mr. Curtis.
You're just crabbing about something, eh? You'll never leave the Express.
The Express? Well, good paper.
Okay.
Yeah, but we sure let you pull one over on us today, getting those exclusive murder pictures for only $200.
What exclusive murder
The
picture?
Blake killing, of course. Give Mr. Curtis a drink on me, Ethelbert, will you?
Sure. Oh, excuse me, there's the bar phone.
We didn't get any exclusives of the Blake
no,
killing.
Well, you bought the stuff that Forster kid got.
Forster kid?
Sure, Alan Forster, the young camera bug.
I never heard of it.
You'll have to speak louder, ma'am.
Wait a
I can't
minute.
hear
Say,
what,
Curtis,
huh?
didn't you send a guy from the Globe to buy those shots from...
Casey, I haven't the vaguest idea of what you're talking about.
The call's for you, Casey, and Mrs. Forster on the wire.
Mrs. Forster?
Uh-huh, you want to talk to her?
I'll say I do.
Miss Williams, would you be good enough, if you can, please, to tell me something?
Hey, hello, Casey speaking.
They told me at the Express to call this number, Mr. Casey. I'm Alan Forster's wife. He's with you, isn't he?
No.
Oh, but you know where he is.
No?
Oh, that something's happened to him.
Huh? What do you mean?
Well, almost 3 hours ago, he phoned me at the place where I work about the pictures he'd taken of that murder.
Yeah?
He said he was going to develop them, then meet you and phone me back. But he didn't phone, and somebody's been in our apartment.
Somebody's...
Well, I found the lock on our door broken, and the closet Alan uses for his darkroom, the things have been broken and knocked around.
Has anything else in the apartment been disturbed?
No, just the things in the darkroom. Oh, Mr. Casey, what do you think's happened to him?
I don't know. But I'll do my best to locate your husband.
Do you think you can?
Now, take it easy and don't worry. Goodbye for now.
Goodbye.
Annie, come on. Excuse us, Mr. Curtis, will you?
Where are we going, Casey?
My car across the street. The copies of those murder pictures are there in my equipment case. And I want to take a very careful look at them. Oh, Annie. If I'd only looked carefully at these prints before.
What do you see, Casey?
How Blake was murdered.
How, Blake?
Yes, look. Look. When Forster took the pictures, his lens was stopped down to get a good depth of focus.
Yeah?
He got not only Blake, but a sharp picture of the building across the street.
Yeah,
Well, in the first picture, the bullet has just struck Blake. He's slumping. He's beginning to fall. And a ground floor window of that building is partially open, Annie. Look.
Yeah, just a few inches.
Yeah, but in the second picture, which shows Blake lying on the sidewalk, that window's closed.
He was shot from behind that window, and the killer closed it right after he fired.
Right, that's it. Now, look at this third floor window in both pictures. It's the one that Richard M. Clagle said he was standing behind when he heard the shot. Well, did you see anybody there?
No, Casey. Clagle could have gone down to the first floor and waited for Blake to come out of the barber shop. And...
Yeah. Then, after he shot him, Clagle closed the window, did a quick dash up the stairs to the third floor, and rang the elevator bell.
Yeah?
The operator picked him up there, and Clagle was supplied with a pretty good alibi, Annie, because the bullet entered Blake's body on a horizontal line. He couldn't have been shot from the third floor.
But Claygo's a reputable businessman, Casey. Why did he kill Blake?
Well, never mind. That doesn't matter now. Point is, he must have killed him. And Clagle is the only person besides you, Foster, Burke, and me who knew about those pictures. He was with us when the kid told about taking him, remember?
Oh, yeah. And he offered to take the kid home right afterwards. And if Captain Logan hadn't detained him...
He'd have gotten the films then, sure. He sent somebody to wait outside the express building to buy those pictures. But Foster wouldn't sell until after he'd seen me. And then I played into his hands by telling the kid not to accept Burke's chiseling offer.
Yeah, the phony Globe reporter got him into a car after he left you and kidnapped him.
Because the kid only had prints of the pictures, Annie. Clayco had to have the negatives, too. So he or the guy working with him broke into Foster's apartment and got him. Evidently, Foster didn't let on that he'd given me a set of prints, or I'd have received a call from him, too.
Well, maybe they've killed him by now.
Oh, Annie, if they've killed that kid, I'm partly responsible.
Oh, that's crazy.
I gotta find Logan right away. We're gonna start for headquarters as soon as I can unlock this ignition.
Don't make a move.
Clayco.
There's a gun in this pocket, Casey. You remember that, too, Miss Williams, and that a man in danger of the electric chair will stop at nothing to protect himself. I'm getting into the back seat. Start your motor, Casey, and drive as I direct.
Okay. Guess you heard what we were talking about.
And not by accident. Young Foster did say you had prints of those pictures. I waited a long time for you. Now start driving. Straight ahead for the time being.
That gun makes you the boss. Mind giving us a hint of where we're going?
We're joining young Foster. He hasn't been harmed yet. Drive right up to that big door, Casey.
Okay.
What is this place?
A little waterfront storage house I own, Miss Williams. Stop here, Casey.
All right, now what?
Get out of the car. I notice you've placed the pictures I want in your equipment case. Bring the case with you.
All right.
And be very careful. Bob, open up.
Right away, boss. Well, I see you got the guy you went after plus a dame.
Yeah, Bob, just as you got Foster. Now step inside, you people.
Casey.
Hello, Alan. See, they've got you nicely tied up.
Well, that guy Bob brought me here. He's a fellow said he was on the Globe. I told him about the prints you had before I knew he was a phony.
It's okay, pal.
Now you can hand over those prints, Casey.
I guess I'll have to, Clagle. What are your plans for the three of us?
Can't you guess?
A one-way ride?
A boat ride. Late tonight. On one of my cement barges.
Casey.
I hate to do this, Miss Williams, but you people are very dangerous to me. More dangerous than Max Blake was.
Why did you kill Blake?
Never mind that. Give me the pictures in your plate case.
Okay.
Don't let him sink his mitts in that case, boss. There may be a gat in there.
There's nothing in this case but films and flash bulbs and your pictures.
Maybe not, but take your hands out of there.
Huh? All right. You're the doctor. Get him yourself, then.
He's got something in his hands, boss.
Can't you see they're only flash bulbs? I took them out so you can get at the printsies.
Unstrap the case from his shoulder, Bob.
I've got it.
Take out the pictures. I want to be sure.
You got a flash bulb between the eyes, Mike.
Shoot him up! My eyes are cut.
That's right.
I can't see. I'm blind.
He's got my gun, Clagle. You shouldn't try to handle a gun and a film case at the same time. Bob!
You got him, Casey.
And here's one for you, Clagle.
You got them both around.
Annie, will you get my camera from the car while I watch these mugs? I'm going to use some flash bulbs now to get a few front-page pictures. And if Bert doesn't put them on the front page, I will take a job on the Globe.
Oh, now, when did I hear that one before?
We'll join the crowd at the Blue Note in just a moment. If men had to clean pots and pans every night, they'd really do something about it. They'd go right out and invest in a complete set of Fire King oven glass. If only because Fire King oven glass is so amazingly easy to clean. Now, if you've been using ordinary pots and pans, you have no idea how much kitchen drudgery Fire King oven glass will save you. You see, Fire King oven glass has a special non-porous surface that's literally mirror smooth, the result of a scientific process exclusive with Fire King. And then, too, you save dishwashing by using a single Fire King baking dish to serve, bake, and store leftovers. Now, you'll find a wide variety of Fire King casseroles, pie plates, and baking dishes in all sizes at your favorite chain and other retail stores where household glass is sold, all at amazingly low prices, all guaranteed for 2 years against oven breakage. Beautiful, practical, inexpensive Fire King oven glass, a product of Anchor Hocking. The most famous name in glass.
Why did Claygle kill that guy, Max Blake, Casey?
Well, Ethelbert, shyster criminal lawyers like Blake are sometimes blackmailers. Well, Blake was.
Claygle was paying him and finally got tired of it.
Yeah. Claygle knew that Blake patronized the barber shop across from his office building and invariably went there on Saturday afternoon. All he had to do was to watch and to wait for him. See?
He figured on a pretty good alibi from the elevator operator. He made it look better by bringing those two gunmen, Silver and Russo, to the neighborhood with a phony telephone message.
Hey, you see, they thought they would have met somebody there. But Claygle had framed them as a pair of natural suspects. They knew that with their record, it wasn't healthy to be caught at the scene of a killing, so when they heard the shot, they tried to beat it, which made them really look guilty, you think?
I see. After what the Forster kid went through, I guess he'll be glad to go on working in a store.
Yeah? Oh, no. He's got the stuff it takes, the kid.
Casey's browbeaten Burke into putting Alan Forster on the regular staff, Ethelbert.
Yeah?
Oh, well, he's taking the job on his own responsibility, though. Yes, sir. I've warned the kid. And now he's seen for himself that press photographers...
Lead a dog's life.
Yeah, that's right. We certainly do.
Casey, as my sister Edna says, quote, them as complains about leading a dog's life seldom want to trade places with any other breed of animal. Yeah, unquote.
Give Casey another Fido biscuit, Ethelbert. Pour it in his usual glass.
Crime Photographer, starring Stotts Cotsworth as Casey, is brought to you each Thursday by the Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation, makers of Fire King oven glass, Anchor glass containers, Anchor caps and closures, all products of Anchor Hocking, the most famous name in glass. Photographer is directed by John Dietz. The original music is by Archie Blyer, and the program features Miss Jan Miner as Anne and John Gibson as Ethelbert. Herman Chittison is the Blue Note pianist. Your National Guard is destined to play a more important part than ever before in America's security plans. The National Guard offers young men regular Army pay and training without interference with their normal civilian life. If you're between the ages of 17 and 35, married or single, join your local unit of the National Guard. This is Tony Marvin saying goodnight for the Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation of Lancaster, Ohio, with offices in all principal cities of the United States and Canada. Thursday night on CBS is the biggest show in town, so stay tuned for exciting dramatizations on Reader's Digest Radio Edition, which follows immediately over most of these stations. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
This I believe. George Leslie Stout is the director of the Worcester Art Museum. The collection and conservation of man's creative efforts have been his work and interest since college days at the University of Iowa. His career in the field of art includes teaching, research, and writing. He was also the managing editor of the 10-volume Technical Studies in the Field of Fine Arts. Here now is George Stout.
Years ago, I sat occasionally in the company of a few scholars who had concluded that man as a creature is slowly getting worse, moving downwards from an older and a better state towards a poorer one. I could not agree with them. To me, mankind, a vast family of creatures, is growing inevitably towards a state of civilization. I believe that in time long past, there started among us an appetite for understanding and fairness. We began to learn mercy, to love others, to seek truth, to inquire after knowledge, and to find contentment in the song of a bird or the shape of a hill against the sky. We began to look for justice in the government of our affairs, to tell about the meanings of our life together, to laugh at our follies, and we began to make things that would contain some of the meanings we found and hold them in words or paint or stone. How this craving for civilization started, I do not claim to know. I do not expect it to be satisfied by any contrivance or imagine it to be the special property of any group or any race. I cannot link my own belief in it to the revelation of a single event. Somehow, the belief came, it stays, and it furnishes me with a constant motive for work and for existence. I have to admit that man's growth towards civilization looks slow and unsteady. At moments, whole nations seem to fall back. Their people fret for deliverance from selfish fears. They pay homage to persons who snatched power for themselves, all manner of tyrants, and people beg them for comfort and for peace. But when I look beyond the weak spots, I can notice those men who pursue knowledge for the common benefit, or labor for sound structures rather than for gain, or fight and die, not for praise or possessions, but for the freedom of others. These are not strange or distant men. A friend of mine talked over the fence one day with a farmer in the stony hills of New Hampshire. My friend said there must be a lot of drudgery on a place like this, and the farmer answered him, "Work ain't drudgery if you're building something." That, I believe, is it, to build something. A farm on a hillside, a home, a mill, a congenial neighborhood, an explanation of natural laws, a cure for ills, a comedy, a record of history, a poem, an altar. To be at such works is to move on the way to civilization, and it must be a way without end. Although they might wander off, men come back to works like these, and back to the way of civilization. I believe they always will. At such tasks, they are free from strife. They are calm in the awareness that although the parcel of a man's life is small, the grandeur of men's growth is infinite. An old saying goes, "He who sustains all the calamities of the country can be the king of the world." And another, "The meek shall inherit the earth." This I believe.
That was George Leslie Stout, the director of the Worcester Museum of Art in Massachusetts.
Crime does not pay. Got the dough, Eddie? Check. Not bad. All right, Moxie, let him have it. Don't hit me. Moxie hit him with a gun butt. What do you think, kid? We'd ask him polite like to sit down and be quiet till we got away. But maybe he's dead. Nuts. Okay, fellas? Yeah, okay. All right, take drive. But if he's dead, you burn for him. If he's dead,
Shut up. Hey, here's 50 for your share. That's easier, ain't it? And a lot better than fixing other people's jalopies.
In the interest of good citizenship and law enforcement, we present Crime Does Not Pay, based on the famous Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer series of short subjects. In just a moment, you will hear Father's Boy, starring Richard Hart. Now, Crime Does Not Pay, starring Richard Hart as Dan Tink Gilbert Williams in Father's Boy. The neighborhood was on the verge of becoming a slum. No one wanted to live there. But where else can you go when you're scraping a bare living from a poorly paid job, and every penny goes to protect a hard-won respectability? This is the condition which faced Dan and Muriel Williams as Dan Jr. grew up into that half-sad, half-joyous period called adolescence. More, all this removed the element of surprise from Muriel's voice and Dan's reaction. The evening Dan came home from the machine shop where he worked to be greeted by Muriel saying,
"The cops, Dan. They brought Danny home this afternoon."
I see. Surprised?
Not very.
You say that as if it were my fault.
Isn't it? For 16 years I watch him every moment I can spare from fighting the dirt and the budget we have to live on. Where's his father been? Has he ever really had a father?
I've done my job. I've kept a roof over our heads. I've gone absolutely straight. That's been my part of the job.
And your son hasn't been. Oh, it's no use, and it's too late. Too little and too late.
Is it that bad?
What does it matter how bad it is? Cops brought Danny home, understand? Cops picked up Danny. Like father,
What'd
like...
they pick him up for?
Parcel service truck unlocked. He grabbed some packages. He and his gang. You hear that? His gang.
Where is he now?
Here in his room.
Then they let him go.
It's juvenile court. He isn't 17 yet. A week from tomorrow.
I see. Company's pressing charges.
It's not the first time the trucks have been hit in this neighborhood.
All right.
What's all right? You'll send Danny to reform school. You know what he'll learn there. I begged you to get us out of this neighborhood. I begged you, Dan, but you couldn't or wouldn't.
Too late for that now. Danny, come in here.
Hi.
Danny, I said come in here.
Dan, what are you going to do?
Be a father. Danny.
Don't hit him. It won't do any good.
Not with my hand, I won't hit him.
Okay, so they caught me. Next time I'll be smart.
Oh, Danny.
Sit down, son.
What for? I can hear you standing.
I said sit down.
Okay. Okay, I'm sitting.
Okay, button your lip, pigeon, and use your ears.
Dan, don't talk like that. It makes you remember.
Maybe Muriel, once this young punk gets a load of the real thing, he won't be so full of juice.
Get to it, Pop. I ain't got all night.
Button it. You've got as much time as I say you have, understand?
Okay. So what?
So you'll get a load of what I'm spilling in language you think is pretty smart. And maybe you'll have something to chew on. You know, kid, the kind of snatch you tried to pull this afternoon is old as Methuselah.
Give me time. I'll figure a couple of angles.
I know about those angles, all about them. They've got a funny way of turning into the angles bars make with a windowsill. There was a kid once, not much older than you. He thought he had angles, all of them. He was smart. Ask him, he'd tell you, see. This kid liked cars, see? From the inside out, he liked them. He was a whiz with tools. Could take a car engine down, put it together with 3 parts left over and make it run better than they could at the factory. He was a good driver, too. But most of all, he liked to tinker with machinery. His crowd called him Tinker, or Tink for short. He had a job in a service station. Worked on cars and loved it. A good kid. Smart. Played the angles. Never made much dough, but he could hope. And one day, He was alone in the shop. His hopes come true. Or he thought they had.
Who are you? What's the idea of sneaking up behind the guy?
Save the chatter. I got a business proposition. You're Tink Gilbert.
Who told you?
Little birdie. Sits on telephone lines and listens all day long. Trouble with the fool bird, can't keep its fool mouth shut. Can you?
Depends.
On what?
The kind of mucilage. Also, how much...
The color of mine is green. Also, it folds.
How do I know you didn't draw the pictures yourself?
You don't take any chances at all, do you, kid? Yeah, you're smart. You ought to go places.
I figure the angle.
Okay. Figure. Out loud.
I figure... Guy walks in and calls me by name. I've never seen him before. I see a guy dressed real sharp who slings a line about stuff that folds and has a green color. Okay. Maybe it's rabbit food and maybe it's real lettuce. So first I gotta know, what's his name?
The name is Carter. Gypsy Carter, on account of I got a good sunburn all the time.
Gyp Carter. Yeah, I heard the name.
Satisfied?
Well, what do you want from me? All I know is cars.
Well, I got a car. Don't run fast enough.
A soup job?
A trial for you. For half a C.
Half a C? When I get here for a week. Okay, I'll play the percentage. Bring your car in tomorrow night. Oh, for crying out loud. Yeah?
Hey, that you?
Who else? Oh, that's you. Hi.
How you like the new chariot?
Oh, you sure can pick cars, Jim. You don't need this one souped up.
You can say that again.
Hey, what does this chariot do, about 90?
Better than that. Like to try it?
You're not kidding. Only, I got a date tonight.
Dames is always around.
No. This one's my steady.
Well, how about another half a C?
But just for driving?
Sure. A couple of my pals and I were going for a little ride. Figured it might be a good gag for me to let them think I got a chauffeur with the new chariot, you know. Is it a deal?
Oh, just let me get out of my overalls and wash my hands. I wouldn't want to touch that wheel with grease on my fingers.
So you got a chauffeur. Oh, you're kidding, Jip. That kid ain't no chauffeur.
Beg your pardon, Mr. Carter. You promised me an early night tonight, sir.
Yeah, so I did, Tink. So I did.
Get him, Ed. So I did. I got him, Moxie. I got him long ago.
All right, fellas. The gag's buried. There's the service station.
Check. And double check.
All right, Tink. No more fooling. Now, you and I stay in the car. Ed and Moxie will do the job. Then we all beat it. Now, pull up to the fire pump and leave the engine running. Stay in gear and keep the clutch out.
Chip, Mr. Carter, I don't get it.
Stop the car. You'll get it all right.
Yes, okay.
You can help, all right. This is a stick-up. Make like you're busy on the car. Ed, empty the tin inside. Check.
You can't. I'm scared of you guys.
Shut up and behave. I don't carry no 45 because I want to fool a guy who's getting my way. Let me go.
Got the door?
Check. Not bad.
All right, Moxie, let him have it.
No, do it.
Moxie hit him with a gun butt.
What do you think, kid? We'd ask him polite like to sit down and be quiet till we got away.
Maybe he's dead.
Nuts. Okay, fellas?
Okay, Chip.
All right, Tink, drive.
But if he's dead, you'll burn for it. If he's dead...
Shut up. Here. Here's 50 for your share. That's easier, ain't it? And a lot better than fixing other people's jalopies.
Why'd you want to come out for a walk, Tim? Why?
I want to talk to you, Muriel.
You've done something. You've done something wrong.
I didn't do nothing.
Our date last night, the one you postponed from Wednesday. You spent more than $50. I should have thought. Where did you get the money, Tink?
I earned it. And if that's the way you're going to talk, I ain't going to say nothing.
Oh, Tink, darling, you can't fool me 1 minute. Not 1 minute. You've done something in this case.
All I did was drive. The other fellas hit it.
Hit who?
You saw it in the papers. The gas station, the attendant in the hospital.
The one with the fractured skull. Oh, Tink, not you.
I didn't hit him, I tell you. All I did was drive. And I didn't even know what was going on till it happened.
That's no excuse. Tink, if he died...
He won't die. And get this. I'm going to throw in with Jip Carter.
Oh, no, Tink. No.
Now, look, you had your fun last night, didn't you? Okay. That was Jip's dough. And I made it in 1/10 the time I could have made it legit. So I'm telling you. I'm going in with Jip, understand?
Then you can forget about us.
What? Are you nuts? We'll never get no place legit. I can build up to $500,000 a week with Jip.
I don't care about the money. I don't care. I want you honest.
Me, you'll get me like I'm going to be. With money in my pocket and a pocket in a good suit.
Good night, Tink. Goodbye.
Muriel! Hey, what do you think you're doing? Oh, nuts. All dames are screwy. I'll show her. I didn't do nothing but drive. And I'll show her when I get my hands on some real dough. When I get my hands on some dough.
In just a moment, Crime Does Not Pay will continue with Father's Boy. Now we continue with Crime Does Not Pay, starring Richard Hart as Dan Tink Gilbert Williams in Father's Boy. In the quiet, dingy parlor of the flat where they lived, Dan Williams unfolded the story of Tink Gilbert for Danny Jr. The boy listened, his eyes sullen. His mother sat there, the memories flooding back upon her, as her husband's voice cut the quiet of the room, reenacting, reliving the moments of the story.
Yes, Danny. Tink made up his mind to show Muriel. And Tink was never one to let the grass grow under his feet. Oh, no, not Tink. A few minutes after Muriel ran away from him, Tink was on his way to pay a call. Okay, kids, come in. I'm coming. Hiya, Jip.
Good enough. It's on your mind. Shut the door, Moxie, and stay on this side of it.
Yeah, right.
Oh, what's on your mind, I said?
I want to work for you, Chip. Regular.
Oh? Getting wise, kid?
I'm wise enough to know you can't make no real dough changing oil and grease and bearings.
What do you want to do for me?
Drive for you.
Well. My idea exactly. Well.
How about it?
What makes you think I need a driver? I got Moxie and Ed.
Most jobs it takes two guys. One man should stay at the wheel. You don't want to get out of the car like the other night, and you don't want to drive the job yourself.
You sure do figure all the angles.
I got eyes.
Oh, I see. How much do you want?
150 per.
You can have 100. Any job we get over $1,000, you get 5% as a bonus.
Okay, it's a deal. Only, let's have a couple of big ones fast. I gotta show somebody. I'm smart.
Say, Jip. Yeah?
Suppose the truck driver don't stop.
He'll stop.
But if he don't, with us parked across the road like this, he could wreck the car and us.
Look, kid, if you're going to be nervous, you can't work for me.
Oh, just asking a question.
Okay. Ed and Moxie, they'll have him stopping out of a cab long before he reaches us, see?
I hope so. Hey, how are they going to do it?
Watch. That's our baby coming around the bend now.
But he can't see us.
Shut up, will you, and watch.
Hey, look, they're waving flashlights.
They figure everything. They got him.
Okay, get down out of that cab into the sticker. Come on, everyone, that truck. Get down.
Hey, somebody in the back of the truck shooting.
Must have been tipped. Somebody tipped them off who was set to hijack that load.
Chip, they got Ed.
The truck's loaded with triggers. Get the money, Moxie? Yeah, the driver. I saw him bleed from the mouth. We got the driver before they knocked Ed over. Think I said drive.
I can't.
Let me in.
We drive. Tell you what, we should leave you like we can't leave that. Okay, I'll drive.
Stay on the right side of the road, you hear?
Yeah, I'm staying.
Where to, kid? The regular hideout. Kid'll take me to mine.
Yeah. What about him, the kid?
He won't talk.
You better not. You hear that, Tink? You better not talk. I won't.
What do you want me to do?
After you drop us, you ditch the car. You ditch it good. Then go to 19 Jackson Street. Tell the landlady I sent you. She'll give you a room. And stay there. Don't even go out for a paper. Stay there till I let you know that the heat's off. There's 2 bodies back there. The cops ain't gonna let this one get filed.
Yes? That you, Tink? Yeah, I gotta see you. Let me in. Oh, okay, just a minute. Okay, Gilbert, keep your hands in sight.
Who are you? I thought you were Chip. You sounded like him.
The name is Johnson. You want to see my badge?
Cops.
That's right.
You got nothing on me.
We got enough to throw the book at you. Well, get your hat. We're leaving.
Leaving? For where?
Headquarters, Gilbert. We got some questions we think you know the answers to.
I don't know nothing. I didn't do nothing.
Stop it, Gilbert. You're in that hijack killing up to your neck. Now get going. Or do I have to call the boys from the squad car? All right, on your feet, Gilbert.
Okay.
Gilbert, this is the assistant DA, Mr. Masters.
All right, Gilbert, you can sit down.
Okay, thanks.
Now get this straight from the start, Gilbert. Mr. Masters wants to talk to you. You've got no previous record, which may help you if you help us. Now bear that in mind. Mr. Masters.
Tink, you're in a jam. Bad jam. I wonder if you realize how bad. We've known about Moxie's favorite hideout for a long time. And he talked. Moxie says you fired the shot that killed the driver of the truck while he was running away from the shooting.
That's a lie. I never touched a gun in my life.
It makes no difference, Tink. You'll fry anyway.
I'll fry?
I told you it was a bad jam. The worst. You were involved in an attempt at armed robbery that wound up in a killing. It doesn't matter that you never touched a gun. It's first-degree murder anyway. You understand, Tink? First-degree murder. The chair.
Guess I didn't figure that. You can't figure all the angles, Gilbert. Not on your side of the fence.
But you can, if you want to, come over on our side.
You want me to squeal like Moxie?
We want you to tell the truth. You understand? Just tell the truth, and you won't fry. The chair isn't a very comfortable place, Tink. The death house is even worse.
I can't sing.
You've got to, or you're through. You're not a tough criminal, Tink. Not yet, anyway. But if you play this the wrong way, you'll never be anything. You won't even be alive.
All right. I'll do like you say. I got it, I guess.
That's the boy. All right, get the steno in here, Johnson. No, wait a minute. Before we do that,
let the girl in for a few minutes.
We still got a few hours to hold him.
Yeah, I know. But let the girl in. The one whose name is Muriel. She's been outside since the papers came out this morning. We'll give her a break on this deal, too.
So, Danny, Tink got a lot better deal than could have been expected. He didn't get off scot-free, of course, but after a while, not very long, they put him on probation. That's when Muriel married him. He took a job. He's held that job. But he'll never be more than a mechanic. He ruined himself, ruined his chances, all of them.
Okay. So what?
Oh, Danny, don't you see?
What's to see, Mom? What's this got to do with me? I didn't drive any car. I just snatched a couple of packages.
That's how Tink started. Only with him, it was stuff from the counters of a 5 and 10.
Yeah, but I still don't see what...
All right. All I can say is... Well, maybe you weren't really listening to me. You'll probably find out what all this has to do with you in court a week from tomorrow.
So this is the Williams family.
Yes, Your Honor.
Sit down, Mrs. Williams.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Williams. Danny, you stand there in front of my desk. Yes, sir. Now then, I asked you all into my chambers because I feel that there are times when the publicity of open court can do more harm than good. Now, Mr. Williams, I have your probation report right here on my desk.
I expected you would have, sir.
It's been excellent. Apparently, when you changed your name, you changed your ways as well.
I hoped Tink Gilbert was buried forever. Do you understand now, Danny?
Well, Danny? Well?
Answer the judge, Danny.
Okay, I understand. So, Dad was Tink Gilbert. So he's got a good record. Now, how does that help me?
That's up to his honor, son.
I really hope that... Well, no, what I hope doesn't really matter.
Well, I think it does, Mrs. Williams. After all, Danny is half you. And by that, I don't mean that the other half is bad. You see, here in juvenile court, we handle matters somewhat differently. Do I have to go away, Your Honor? Not for the present. I'm going to put you on probation, son. To your father. He learned a lesson some years back. That ought to do you a lot of good.
Oh, thank you, Your Honor.
Please, Mrs. Williams, I'm handling this case as seems best. That's my job. I want no thanks for doing the job. But, Danny, I want you to remember this. The shortcuts are no good. They're no good at all. All of you who try them wind up standing where you are now, in front of the judge.
Crime does not pay.
Richard Hart, who was starred as Dan Tink Gilbert Williams in Father's Boy, will be back with you in just a moment. Now, here in person is Richard Hart.
Perhaps the most significant thing in this story is the fact stated way back at the beginning that Dan Williams spent so much of his energies in the struggle for sheer existence that he failed to find time to be a real father to his son. This condition grew out of the harsh, bitter living conditions of slums and near slums, which are the greatest breeding grounds of criminals in our history. Those who have to live in such places can't find their way out without our help.
our help through the interest we take in making our cities and towns better, cleaner places to live in. True, this costs money, but in the end it will cost far less than is spent every year to fight the crime of which these conditions are the cause. For all of us, not only for the criminal, it holds true that crime does not pay.
Thank you, Mr. Hart. Crime Does Not Pay is written by Ira Marion and directed by Mark B. Lowe, with music composed and conducted by John Gart. Technical advisor is Burton B. Turkis. This is Bob Williams speaking. The events, characters, and names used in the story you've just heard are fictitious. Any similarity is purely coincidental.
This, I believe. Many are familiar with Omar Khayyam's restaurant in San Francisco and its owner, George Mardakian. This restaurateur, whose career began as a dishwasher, is now one of the country's leading food experts. During the war, as consultant on foods to the Quartermaster General of the U.S. Army, he visited GI mess halls around the world and revolutionized the Army kitchens. Here now is George Mardakian.
Every Christmas Eve, I close my restaurant to the public. My wife and I become the hired help to serve our employees. We try to give them the finest Christmas repast. This exchange of roles is symbolic. This is an ancient Armenian custom we have introduced into our American life. Each national group has brought something of this heritage in the form of thousands of different customs, which have become integral parts of life in this country. I believe that true humility is a basic need of mankind today. Why do I believe this? Aside from the fact that Jesus Christ taught it, my own experiences seems to me a living testimony of its truth. As a young man in my native Armenia, I was organizing Boy Scout troops when the Turks and the Russians invaded the Republic of Armenia. I was captured and thrown into prison. I nearly starved to death in this time of crisis. An older and wiser inmate said to me, "Don't lose hope." He was right, for some American friends in the nearest relief helped me to escape. They used the ruse of telling my captors that I was an American. I became an American before I became an American. Eventually, I was able to work my way to the United States. Here I was, a humble immigrant boy, crossing the Atlantic to a country that seemed to answer all my prayers for happiness and freedom. My feelings when I first saw the Statue of Liberty cannot be described. Even today, when I pass it on my frequent trips to Europe, a feeling something like reverence comes over me. When I entered the shower baths at Ellis Island, I found plenty of soap and water. I used them freely because it seemed to me that I was washing away all the hatreds and prejudices of the old world. As I stepped out of the shower and came face to face with a guard in uniform, he actually smiled at me. The smile of a stranger may seem to be a fleeting and significant moment to others, but I remember it vividly because it set the mood for my new life. It was perhaps an omen of the joy and friendship I was to find about me. When I first arrived, I spoke very little English and had practically no money, but I did have enthusiasm, the will to work, and bright hopes for a new life ahead. I got on the westbound train for San Francisco. Everywhere I went, strangers were willing to help, and I felt very humble. This wonderful land has been good to me. It has given me friends by the hundreds in all walks of life. I believe that in this society where love and mutual respect are fostered and encouraged, I must do more than contribute my share towards the material and the spiritual well-being of all. I believe that friendship which grows out of love and through humility is the most important thing in life.
That was George Mardakian, restaurateur who is also the president of the American National Committee to Aid Homeless Armenians.
Calling all detectives. A man in a turtleneck sweater, an heiress with a broken leg, and a blackjack. Those are the exhibits on this page from my casebook. The casebook of Jerry Browning, private detective. A certain amount of the work I, Jerry Browning, private detective, get is acting as a bodyguard. As a rule, it pays well and is easy, but not always. The man in the turtleneck sweater leaned over the table. I say the little lady give me the eye, and I say I'm going to dance with her, see? I glanced at Daphne Springer, who was sitting alongside of me at the tiny table. Her hands were primly folded in her lap, and her eyes were demurely lowered. That meant she had given this mug the eye. Look, pal, the little lady can't dance with you. She's got a broken leg. Oh, a wise guy. For 2 cents, I make it a firm rule of life never to wait and find out what a man would do for 2 cents. I do it first. I knocked the mug into the laps of the people at the next table. He let out a bellow of rage and came charging back at me. Across the room, 3 other turtleneck lads leaned up to join me. Under the circumstances, I took out my blackjack and at a definite point in these free-for-alls, somebody always puts out the light. I laid a bottle of blackjack up to that point and reached out, picked up Daphne, slung her over my shoulder, and started cutting a path to the door. Well, Daphne, I hope you're satisfied. Daphne wasn't satisfied. She considered it unsporting to use a blackjack against only 4 opponents and a couple of bouncers, who, in a manner of speaking, were really neutral. I listened to her patiently, then, Daphne, if you didn't actually have a broken leg, I'd break it, and I may break the other one. Now shut up, you're going home. For answer, Daphne suddenly reached over, turned the ignition key, cut the motor, and tossed the key out the window. I didn't have a chance to comment on that, because just then a car overhauled and cut in front of us. In it were my late opponents, the Turtleneck Boys. Hired as a bodyguard for an heiress with a broken leg, I found myself in a stalled car and facing a gang of toughs. I took out my revolver, walked up to the other car, shoved the revolver muzzle against the nose of the mug who'd started all the trouble at the Pink Poodle Roadhouse. I think I'll blow your brains out. What's more, I'm a detective and can get away with it. The mug looked as though he'd faint. Please, we was only kidding. I'll bet. Okay, all of you out of the car and start walking. What are you going to do? I'm taking your car. You can pick it up in the morning at the police garage. I went back to my car, picked up Daphne, flung her in the back seat of the car I'd commandeered, and drove her home. She didn't open her mouth once. Here's your fun-loving daughter, Mr. Springer. What she needs is not a detective, but the National Guard. Springer watched as his daughter was carried upstairs by a couple of servants. Come into the library, Browning. Browning, shall I tell you what's wrong with Debbie? I know what's wrong. She's crazy trying to ski down a mountainside on one foot and... Well, she may be a little crazy, but that's not the main trouble. She's in love. With you. I sat down. This is just a plot. To have me bodyguard her free. I'm through. I quit. I resign as of yesterday. The next morning, I took the commandeered car over to the police garage, explained how I'd come into possession of it. The sergeant kept nodding, writing down my answers until... Hey, is something wrong? The sergeant put down his pen. The guy who owns that car, Nick Whalen, was shot to death last night. You better stick around a while, Browning. Okay, but Daphne Springer will tell you that I took a ride home. The sergeant put in a call to the Springer home and talked for a while in a low voice. Then... Browning, you're under arrest. So, there I was, a nice, comfortable cell. I lay down, had a good, long nap. A while later, the guard came by and woke me up. Hey, Browning, there's a classy blonde babe outside in a wheelchair wants to see you. I raised my head. Tell her for me to go break her neck. I don't want to see her. The guard prodded me. Come on, you gotta get up. She cleared you. Daffy was dressed all in black, as though already in mourning for me. When I started to bawl her out, she dabbed delicately at her eyes with a tiny handkerchief. Finally, the sergeant couldn't stand it any longer. Browning, anybody who talks that rough to a poor little girl must be a killer. I ain't got a mind to lock you up again. It would probably be the safest thing that could happen to me. Oh, well, come on, Daffy. I'll wheel you outside to your car. Springer was waiting for us in the car. I heard about what Daffy told that policeman. Made her come down here and retract. I hope you're not in trouble. Nothing I can't handle, if she'll just stay out of my life. That evening, I took a cab out to the roadhouse where all the trouble had started. At the door, I halted and ducked back out of sight. Daffy Springer was in there, sitting at a table with 3 of the turtleneck boys. As I watched, she got up, walked to the dance floor with one of the men, and danced. Broken leg, huh? I retreated to the parking lot, hung around, and waited. After a while, Daffy and a dancing partner strolled out, walked over to one of the cars, and got in.
Daffy, what do you want to worry about Nick for? He had it coming to him. Hey, just a little kiss, eh?
Daffy made it plain she wasn't handing out kisses, just yet.
When a classy babe like you, I could go places. Hey, you was smart to shake off that dumb shamus. Now, me, I'm strictly from the big time. And I'll let you in on something. Nick had a jukebox route in this territory. But did he develop it? Did he put in slot machines? Nah. So, naturally, somebody smart has to take it over. Like me.
I got up from my hiding place and laid my blackjack alongside his skull. Then, slide over, Daffy. We're taking this big-time operator into the police. Well, that cleared up the matter. At the cost of Daffy's broken leg racket. She admitted it had healed 2 weeks ago. She just liked having me lug her around. She claimed she knew I'd follow her to the roadhouse and just got mad when I pointed out the risk she'd taken. The upshot was she fired me as her bodyguard, which means that when I take her out these days, it costs me money. Like I said, bodyguard work is fine, provided you got nothing tougher than a killer to worry about. Listen next time to Calling All Detectives, Mystery Drama, Mystery Quiz, and a chance for you to match wits with yours truly, Jerry Browning, Private Detective.
Murder at midnight.
Mary, what are you doing with that knife?
Knife? Hey, this isn't a knife, Carl. It's a letter. Can't you see that it's a letter? You're just imagining things again.
Put it down.
Either that or you're trying to make me believe I'm imagining things. All I want to do is read it to you.
Keep away from me. Keep away.
But I'm telling you, all I want to do is show it to you. Show it to you like...
midnight, the witching hour when the night is darkest, our fears the strongest, and our strength at its lowest ebb. Midnight, when the graves gape open and death strikes. How? You'll learn the answer in just a moment in Murder Out of Mind. And now, Murder at Midnight. Tales of mystery and terror by radio's masters of the macabre. Our story by Sigmund Miller is Murder Out of Mind. $12:00, midnight, in the home of Carl and Mary Watson. Carl is sleeping, but sleeping restlessly, uneasily. And suddenly... Mary, what are you doing?
What? Doing? What?
That knife, there in your hand.
A knife? I don't understand. What am I doing with a knife?
My guess would be that you were about to kill me.
Oh, no, I couldn't.
Wait till I put on the light.
Carl, your throat, it's bleeding.
It's a pretty sharp knife. The touch of it against my throat that woke me.
I couldn't have done it. I couldn't.
Then may I have it?
I'll get you some iodine and a bandage.
Never mind, it's only a scratch.
But it's bleeding.
It's all right. Why did you want to kill me?
I didn't want to kill you, Carl, darling. I don't know how the knife got in my hand. I was asleep. I don't remember getting it. I don't remember anything. You do believe me, don't you, Carl? You know I wouldn't hurt you for anything.
I do believe you, Mary, but...
Why should I do such a thing?
Possibly because you hate me and wish I was dead.
What? Oh, but I don't, Carl. I love you. I always have.
It's possible to hate someone and not even realize that you
No.
hate them subconsciously. You haven't been feeling too well lately, have you, darling?
Oh, only since George's accident, when he was killed.
That could be the reason, you know. Because I lent your brother the car, you could hate me for that.
No, that isn't so. It wasn't your fault.
Of course it wasn't my fault. Your brother was reckless and foolhardy.
Don't say that.
You see?
Carl, you think I'm going crazy?
No, but I think it might be a good idea for us to see a doctor.
A doctor?
A psychiatrist.
Oh, I don't need a doctor. It won't happen again. I swear it won't.
You can't tell, darling. It wasn't something you did deliberately. You might do it again still without knowing it. Next time you might succeed. I think we'd both feel safer if we did see a doctor.
And she tried to murder you in her sleep?
Yes, Doctor. And she was asleep, really asleep.
Well, has there been any other manifestation of erratic behavior?
Yes, lots of little things. She's abstracted, often hears things that aren't there, very forgetful. Well, the other day she forgot to make dinner for me. Of course, she was abject about it, but they all seem to point to an unconscious hostility toward me.
Well, let's call her in. Mrs. Watson, will you come in, please?
Good morning, Dr. Heller.
Good morning, Mrs. Watson.
Has my husband told you?
Yes, he did. Won't you sit down?
Yes, thank you.
Tell me, were you very much attached to your brother?
Well, you see, I raised him since he was a baby. Our mother died soon after George was born.
And there was a strong bond between the two of you then?
Yes. But I'm sure it had nothing to do with last night.
But I didn't say it did. I'm merely gathering all the facts in the case.
Facts? What are the facts? I tried to kill my husband.
Please, Mary.
I'm sorry. It's all so dreadful. Maybe I am crazy. I don't know.
I don't think you are.
but you may be in need of treatment, Mrs. Watson. Have you been sleeping well lately?
Yes?
Well, have you had any nightmares or terrifying dreams?
No, I don't dream at all.
Or do you find yourself unusually upset when little things go wrong?
No, not generally.
Mary, put Dr. Heller's pen down.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You broke the point jabbing it into the blotter that way.
I didn't mean to. I wasn't thinking.
Oh, that's all right.
I'm very sorry. It's just that, well, I've been nervous ever since my brother was killed.
That's understandable, Mrs. Watson. Can you come in to see me tomorrow? Your husband won't have to come with you.
Oh, yes, Doctor, if you want me to.
You sure you don't want me to come with the Dr. Heller? I'm very much concerned.
I'd rather you didn't, Mr. Watson.
You know best.
This same time tomorrow, then.
Yes.
Goodbye, Mrs. Watson.
Goodbye, Dr. Heller.
Dr. Heller.
Yes?
What do you think?
But I can't say right now. This was just a superficial examination. She doesn't have any important outward symptoms or anything serious.
Well, what about her jabbing the pen into the blotter? Wasn't that significant? I mean, in a minor way, wasn't she trying to stab me again?
You're being an amateur psychiatrist, and that's dangerous. Goodbye, Mr. Watson.
Goodbye, Dr. Heller. I'll let you know if anything unusual happens.
Do you want another cup of coffee, Carl?
No, darling. Why don't you go to bed? I'll do the dishes.
No, I can do them. I feel fine. I'm not tired at all.
Put the knife down, Mary.
I was just going to cut some cake.
Oh. I guess I'm just a little jumpy.
You're afraid of me.
Oh, don't put it that way. It's just that, well, we should be careful.
Yes, Carl. I'll sleep in the living room tonight.
Well, perhaps that would be best. Then...
Tell me about the door.
Why do you say that?
Because the doorbell is ringing.
What are you talking about?
The bell, it's ringing.
Easy, Mary. There's no bell ringing.
But there is. I can hear it.
All right. Open the door and see for yourself.
There must be someone there. There must be. There's no one. The bell stopped.
As soon as you satisfied yourself that no one was at the door, the bell stopped. That is, your mind stopped ringing the imaginary bell.
I don't know what to do. What shall I do, Carl?
Well, Dr. Heller seemed to think he can help you.
He must help me. He must.
Mary!
What?
I didn't say anything.
Didn't you just call my name?
I didn't say anything.
Mary!
Someone's calling my name.
Stop it, Mary. You mustn't let yourself go. Your imagination is running away with you. I can't do anything. It's you who's got to stop it. You have to force it out of your mind.
I keep hearing it. It's driving me crazy. Do something, Carl. Do something, anything.
I'll call Dr. Heller. Dr. Heller, Carl Watson, can you come over right away? Yes, she's bad. Very bad.
Well, what do you think, Doctor? I gave her a sedative. She's resting quietly now.
What do you think we ought to do?
Well, I'll be in a better position to tell you tomorrow, when I examine her thoroughly.
I feel rather uncomfortable. She might try to kill me again.
But I can't recommend institutionalizing her. I'm not convinced yet it's necessary. And it might be very harmful to her.
But she might make the attempt again.
Just watch her closely. By tomorrow, I'll know what should be done.
All right. You're the doctor.
It's a very unusual case. As far as I can see, there's no real mental illness. But then again, as I've said before, my examination has only been superficial. I'll see her in the morning. Call me about noon, and I'll let you know.
Yes, Dr. Heller.
And just be on your toes for tonight.
night's rest, Mary?
Yes, dear. I slept very soundly after that stuff Dr. Heller gave me.
Oh, that's wonderful. What's that you got there?
Tomato juice. We're out of oranges.
You mean you fixed breakfast? Oh, you should.
I wanted to. Here, Carl.
Thanks, darling.
Oh, what's the matter?
What did you put in this juice?
What? Why, nothing. Just a dash of lemon.
Lemon? Maybe, but something else, too. Iodine.
Iodine?
Why did you do it, Mary?
But I didn't. I swear I didn't. I just poured the juice out of the
Come on,
can.
let's look in the medicine chest.
But
Come on.
please, Carl, please, you've got to believe me. I didn't do it. I just poured the juice out of the can, and the can was fresh.
Here's the iodine bottle. And it's just been used. See? It's on my fingers. And I haven't used it in weeks.
I cut myself this morning.
Where?
I don't know. I don't know. I just don't understand. I don't remember even coming in here. I must be crazy. I must be. Really crazy.
A pen stabbed into a blotter and poison for breakfast. Are these both repeat performances of that first attempt to commit
murder at midnight?
And now, back to Murder at Midnight and Murder Out of Mind.
Irene, over here. Get in quickly. Anyone see you?
No. I waited back where it was dark. Well, what's happening with Mary?
Won't be long now, darling.
Carl, you've said that a dozen times before.
This time I mean it. She's really starting to go.
How do you know?
I just do. She's naturally high-strung and nervous, and I'm making the most of it. Another few days, and she'll be so bad that I can have her institutionalized and keep her there for life.
Life?
Not getting squeamish, are you?
No, but... Well, that's just a little too much for me.
Stop that. It's the only way. She'll never give me a divorce. You know that.
Oh, I know. This driving her mad. I'd almost rather you killed her.
What?
Well, at least that would be quick.
This will be quick, too, from here on in. You just leave everything to me. What happened to Dr. Heller's, Mary?
He asked me a lot of questions for over an hour.
What did he say?
He said I seem to be all right. He wants to see me again tomorrow.
Did you tell him about the iodine?
Yes.
What did he say about that?
He tried to make me remember it. But I couldn't. I just couldn't remember doing anything like that, Carl.
I spoke to him a little while ago, called him after you left.
What did he tell you?
He thought perhaps you needed a rest.
But I am resting. I'm not doing much work.
You need a rest at a rest home.
What kind of home?
There are nice, quiet, private places where you'll be very comfortable. After all, you'll probably only have to be there for a short time.
No, I won't. I won't go to an institution.
Oh, you mustn't get yourself upset about it.
Dr. Heller didn't tell me that.
Naturally not.
I won't go, Carl.
Mary, something must be done about you. You're ill, seriously ill. Twice in 2 days you tried to kill me.
I know.
You hear things that aren't there. You've completely lost control of yourself. If you don't have the proper care, you may get worse. You may become stark, staring mad.
No, don't say that.
Look at you. You can't keep your eyes steady. They dart around like a bird.
I can. I keep them steady.
Look at me.
I am.
You're not looking. You've dropped your eyes. You can't look at me because you feel guilty. You hate me. You want to kill me.
No, I don't hate you at all, Carl. I love you. I really do. I'll be all right. I know I will.
You're getting worse. You keep forgetting things.
I don't forget.
What's today's date? You see, you can't remember the date. How many days in this month?
30 days has September, April, June, and November.
You see, your mind goes back to your childhood. That's what happens with people who are mentally ill. You can't even remember what month this is. What is the month?
I know if you only let me think.
You don't have to think to know what month this is. It's August. Your mind is closing up. You're losing contact with the world outside. Soon you won't even know whether it's winter or summer or whether it's day or night. You need treatment. You need hospital care right now. The thing is, will you take it now, or do you prefer to wait until you're hopelessly insane? Yes, darling.
How's everything going?
Very well.
When can you come to see me?
I can't, not until Mary is put away.
How's she getting on?
Fine. Another few days and it'll be all over. She's in constant hysterics now. One word from me and she breaks down completely.
What about the doctor?
He's puzzled.
You mean suspicious?
Oh, everything's going to be all right. Now, look, darling, I won't be able to call you anymore, but I'll write you every day. Remember, it won't be long now. Please don't wash the dishes, Mary.
I want to, Carl. I've got to do something.
Look, you can't even hold a dish in your hand. Watch out!
It slipped.
Yes, so it did. It slipped because your fingers are getting nerveless.
Carl, I'm fine when you aren't around.
Perhaps it's because you hate me. When you see me, your mind just closes up. You go completely to pieces.
What do you want me to do?
I've made some inquiries about the Chilton home. It's a very fine place and a lovely part of the state. You won't mind being there for a few months?
A few months?
Yes, it might take half a year.
I thought...
What did you think? Well, tell me what you thought.
I can't remember.
Yes, I know you can't remember. It's hard for you to remember. It gets harder and harder every day.
But I'm fine with Dr. Heller. I remember everything with him.
He's a psychiatrist. He knows how to help you. But there are dozens of psychiatrists at Chilton.
Dr. Heller never said anything about my going to a sanitarium.
I've had long discussions with Dr. Heller about you. Now, believe me, this is the best course.
If you really think that... If you want me to go, Carl... All right, I will.
Who's that?
It's me, Mary. Can I come in, Carl?
I'm just finishing a letter, dear, to Chilton. I'll be right out.
I just felt lonely. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
That's all right, Mary. I'll be back in a few minutes. I'm just going to mail this.
I'll mail it for you.
No, I don't want you to leave the house anymore. Not alone. It's not safe for you.
Who's there?
Mailman.
Oh, just a moment, please.
Letter for you, Mrs. Watson.
Oh.
The return for lack of postage. No stamp on it.
Well, if you wait a minute, I'll get you 3 cents.
No, can't do that. You'll have to remail it.
Oh, I see. Thank you. Irene Craig. Who's Irene Craig? Irene Craig. Irene Craig. Dearest Irene, I've done it at last. Mary is committing herself voluntarily to an asylum. Once she's there, I'll be able to keep her there for as long as I want. Today I frightened her so that she forgot her own name. Just a few more days and she'll be a raving lunatic. Have patience, darling Irene, just a few days longer. Love, Carl. Love, Carl. She forgot her own name. My name is Mary. It's Mary, M-A-R-Y. I'm sure there's nothing wrong with me. I'm sane, completely sane. My name is Sane. S-A-N-E, Mary Sane. I tried to kill him, Carl said. That's what he said. I tried to kill him twice. He said I hated him. And all the time he hated me. He hated me. It's Irene he loves. Irene, whom I don't even know. Maybe she has a better memory than I have. Maybe she knows what today's date is. Maybe she knows what time it is. Maybe she doesn't forget her name. It's Irene. I won't forget her name either. It's Irene. I won't forget anything anymore. I'll remember everything. I must tell Carl and show him how much I can remember. I must bring him something to show how good my memory is. He'll appreciate this. Oh, yes, he will. Oh, yes, he will. He'll appreciate this. Carl? Oh, Carl, dear.
What is it, Mary? Who was that at the door? What are you doing with that knife?
Knife? This isn't a knife. It's only your imagination. It's really a letter to Irene that's in my hand.
That knife down, Mary.
But it isn't a knife. It's a letter. Can't you see it has your signature on it? Love, Carl, it says.
Letter. How do you know about the letter?
Came back without a stamp.
What? Just imagine it. There is no Irene. Now put that knife down.
You know it isn't a knife, Carl. You're just making believe. That gleam is only the gleam of my tears. But it is sharp. When I read it, it's Daphne.
Keep away from me, Mrs.
Dr. Heller said I was perfectly sane. He asked me a lot of questions about you. Yes, you. He thought there was something the matter with you more than with me. He caught on to you fast, he did. Remember what you told me, Carl. You told me that soon I wouldn't know whether it was winter or summer outside, but you made a mistake. It was you who won't know about the weather. You won't care. You'll be satisfied with just this letter close in your heart. I hate you. The way you hated me. Love, Carl. You see? I can look straight in your eye now. I can. But you can't look in mine anymore.
And so the pattern is played out, and the knife that Carl Watson first placed in his sleeping wife's hand ended up in his own heart. You see, we always try to give you poetic justice, along with
Murder at Midnight.
Remember to be with us again when death steals into a tortured mind and the clocks strike 12 for
Murder at Midnight.
Our stars tonight were Charlotte Holland and Alan Hewitt. With music by Charles Paul, Murder at Midnight was directed by Anton M. Leader.
This I believe. George A. McDevitt is a successful businessman who believes in two Bibles. But if you conclude hastily from that he is a hard-headed executive whose only concern is profit in dollars, you will be mistaken. He has profited from a larger view of life. Born in Philadelphia, Mr. McDevitt began his professional career on the old Philadelphia North American, a flourishing newspaper in its day. This experience determined his career. Today, a New Yorker, he heads the George A. McDevitt Company, national advertising representatives for an important group of metropolitan newspapers. Now he takes time off from business to give us his personal creed.
First of all, I believe in God, frankly, because I cannot imagine a universe without a guiding hand. Whenever I hear men ridicule the idea of a supreme being, I recall the words of Benjamin Franklin when he proposed that the sessions of the Constitutional Convention in 1787 be opened with prayer. If, he said, a sparrow cannot fall without God's knowledge, how can an empire rise without his aid? Personally, I am a man of one faith and two Bibles. My second Bible is Emerson's Compensation, which is the everyday creed by which I try to live. I read that great moral and literary masterpiece when I was a young man, and have never forgotten it, nor ever known its simple but relentless principle of equity to fail. Over the years, I have seen a rough and retributive justice operating in the affairs of men, including my own. Often it is slow to reveal itself, but I am never deluded into thinking that I can escape the penalties for my acts. The mills of the gods grind slowly, but they grind exceeding small. Compensation may be slow to catch up with me, but sooner or later the bill is rendered and the price must be paid. Most of us today are appalled by the hate, the malice, and the corruption in contemporary life. Yet history shows that the conditions we deplore in our times were just the same in other times. If injustice and inequity seem greater today than ever before, it is only because there are more of us, and because man has developed new resources and techniques for making trouble and inflicting pain. Take the atom bomb, for example. I believe that the secrets of the atom will ultimately be an instrument for good. But man's first impulse is to use them as an instrument of destruction. Man's inhumanity to man continues unabated on this unhappy planet. Yet I believe that the law of compensation is working today on a grander scale than it has ever worked since Emerson first gave his great message to the world. Millions who for centuries have worshipped war are at last beginning to realize that everybody dies on the battlefield, no matter who lives after the battle. The soldier pays with his life, the civilian pays with his taxes, and the widow and the orphan pay with their tears. That is compensation, and I believe the world is fed up with it. What Emerson taught by precept, life teaches by example. And I believe that whoever abides by the rule of equity is better able to live in harmony with his neighbor and with himself. In my own case, it has enabled me to build a successful business, to stay on good terms with my fellow man, and to sleep nights with an untroubled conscience. I try, in my own feeble fashion, to do the right thing, amenable to the law of compensation and to the guidance of God, and have thus achieved reasonable happiness and peace.
Those were the beliefs of George A. McDevitt, New York advertising executive, who has spent a long time studying the conflicts of life and has tried to compose them for himself in a reasonable way and with humility.
What's the matter? What is it?
It's another case for Nick Carter, master detective.
Yes, it's another case for that most famous of all manhunters, the detective whose ability at solving crime is unequaled in the history of detective fiction. Nick Carter, Master Detective, presented by the three great Linex home brighteners. Linex Clear Gloss Varnish, Linex Cream Polish, and Linex Self-Polishing Wax. Created by Acme, America's great producer of fine Acme quality paints. Today's curious adventure...
An eye for an eye. For Nick Carter and the mystery of the upstate murders.
In just a moment, we'll hear how Nick Carter solved the mystery of the upstate murders and saved Sharon Fraser a fortune by doing so. But first, here's a tip on homemaking. Millions of American homemakers have learned to care for their walls with Chemtone, the miracle wall finish that brings amazing new beauty. Now, millions more are learning to care for their floors, woodwork, and furniture with the three great Linex home brighteners. Linex self-polishing wax, which beautifies your floors with a satiny yet tough non-skid finish that resists wear, water, and dirt. Linex cream polish, which cleans as it polishes, leaving no oily film on your furniture. And Linex clear gloss varnish, the durable super varnish that dries to an elastic, transparent surface which protects all wood and linoleum in your home. You'll find the three great Linex home brighteners at your hardware, paint, or department store. Your headquarters also for Chemtone, the miracle wall finish. And now for today's mysterious adventure with Nick Carter. As we start today's story, we find Nick and Patsy just entering Lieutenant Riley's office.
Well, Riley, what's on your mind? What do you want to see me about?
Well, I'll make it short, Nick. You're taking a trip upstate, aren't you?
Yes, Lieutenant. For a wonder, Nick is leaving me in charge of the office and taking a few days off. It's hard to believe, but it's true.
Well, Nick, you remember Tom Fraser, the young rookie cop who was shot down in cold blood last week?
Oh, yes, indeed. Nice young chap. Sorry to see him go like that.
Well, his folks live in Watertown. It's right on the way to where you're going. Would you stop off there long enough to call on him and tell him, personal-like, how sorry we are at what happened to him?
Oh, Nick would love to do that. He makes beautiful speeches.
Quiet, Patsy. This vacation I'm taking seems to have gone to your head.
Would you do it, Nick? It's a favor to me.
Of course he will, Lieutenant.
Okay, Riley, I'll do it for you. I suppose the old folks will feel his death a little less keenly if we tell them he died a hero in line of duty.
I think that's a darn nice thing to do, Nick. I'm proud of you.
Well, thanks, Nick. I knew I could count on you.
Can you take me to the Fraser place on Upper Main Street?
I sure can, mister. Get here and I'll get going. From the city, ain't you?
Yes?
Come to pay your respects a bit, huh?
I suppose that's what you'd call it. Why?
Oh, just wondered how far you'd get. Been expecting somebody ever since young Tom got himself killed.
Family taking it hard?
Some is, some ain't. And some we don't know whether they is or they ain't.
Meaning what?
Nobody ever gets to see the old lady.
You mean Mrs. Fraser?
Yeah. Nobody but her doctor has seen her since she got sick. From what I hear, she might take it anyway.
Oh, a little peculiar?
A little. They told Sharon, her own daughter, she was wild and wicked. And she'd be better off dead. Same for the boy Don. That's the house just ahead there.
Well, nice-looking old place, isn't it?
Looks don't mean much. Outside of a package don't tell what's inside.
Wait, please. I'll be right out.
Oh, no, I'll come back.
But I'll only be a few...
I said I'd come back. Half an hour.
Well, okay, but don't forget me.
I won't. Don't you forget about me.
Nobody's home.
No? Who are you?
I'm Uncle Roy. Who are you?
I'm a policeman.
Policeman, good.
Hey, steady there, steady. You're not so drunk you can't stand up. Hey, he's out cold. Well, I'll lay him down.
You ought to be ashamed bringing him home in that condition.
I'm not bringing him home. I'm just...
taking him out, that's worse.
Look here, I'm Nick Carter, and I came here...
I'm Sharon Fraser. What do you want?
I have a message from Mrs. Fraser from Lieutenant Riley of the Metropolitan Police.
Oh, well, we've been expecting somebody. Come on, I'll take you to her room. Dr. Gavin, this is Nick Carter. He wants to talk to Mother.
Nothing exciting, I hope, Mr. Carter. Just the condolences of the Metropolitan Police Department on the recent death of her son, Tom.
Tom!
Mrs. Fraser, Lieutenant Riley thought the world of your son, and he wanted me to tell you that Tom died in service to the people. You may well be proud of him.
Proud of him.
And the Lord said, Take now thy son whom thou lovest, and offer him for a burnt offering upon one of the mountains which I shall tell thee of.
Proud of him.
Well, maybe you don't understand, Mrs. Fraser. Lieutenant Riley... Mr. Carter, suppose you come outside with me. Well, all right.
Mrs. Fraser is not fully conscious of what goes on around her. You've done all you could.
What was all that she was quoting from the Bible?
In cases of this kind, it's not unusual for the patient to lean heavily on the Bible as a refuge from reality.
But her son...
Yes, I know, Mr. Carter. There's nothing to be done about it.
All right, Doctor, whatever you say. Well, if you think I can do no good here, I'll just get back to the station.
That would be best, I'm sure. And thank you for coming.
That taxi driver's long overdue. Wonder if he ever intended to come back.
You're waiting for somebody?
Oh, yes. Say, what goes with the taxi service in this town? I'd like to get that train to Albany.
It's already gone. You'll have to stay here tonight.
No, thanks. I don't care for the atmosphere here.
You feel it, too?
I do. It's the most unpleasant feeling of hatred. Hatred that's monstrous and unnatural.
Yeah, I know. I get a little uneasy here evenings myself. I'll be glad to have you... That's my sister.
Mr. Fraser?
Yes.
Well, come on. There's trouble up there, all right.
Oh, you wicked. You tried to poison me.
Here, what's all this?
Get out of here. Mother's upset and there's no reason.
Poison in my milk. You tried to kiss me.
Is her milk here?
Yes, but
I'll have it analyzed.
That milk's all right. I just brought it up. She hadn't even tasted it.
And what made her think it was poison?
You tell me. You're a detective, aren't you?
Where did this milk come from?
I got it out of the refrigerator. My brother Don was with me. He got a glass for himself and brought it upstairs. He stopped to talk to Mother while I changed my clothes.
And where's your brother now?
In his room, I suppose.
Well, take me there at once.
It's the next room to this. Look for yourself.
I will. Sharon, come here.
What's the matter?
Your brother's dead, and he's been murdered.
Mr. Carter, this is Mr. Welch, our county sheriff.
How are you, Sheriff?
Dr. Gavin says you don't think young Don Fraser died of heart failure.
He died of heart failure, all right. Heart failure brought on by a generous dose of poison.
I'm afraid Mr. Carter, being from the city, is used to dealing with the sensation.
Probably. But since he makes the accusation, I'll have the coroner analyze the boy's glass of milk.
That ain't necessary. It was murder, all right, and you know who did it? Sharon did it.
You're crazy, Uncle Roy.
No, I ain't. You're scared Alec Lord won't fall for you if you ain't rich and you want money so bad you're willing to kill for it.
Why, you drunken old bum. You dare to say that to me. You probably killed him yourself. If we were all dead, you'd be the one to
Stop it, both of you. We don't even know Don was killed. It's just that Mr. Carter here is...
Oh, Alec, I'm so glad you've come.
It's all right, dear.
You, Alex Lord?
That's right. Thought I'd better drop in before you city cops carted the whole household off to jail.
I have nothing to do with this. This is off my beat.
Don't let me slow you up, Carter.
Don't worry, Sheriff, I wouldn't. What I'm getting out of here. Killer or no killer, I'd like to be getting to Albany. Where's the phone?
It's in the downstairs entrance hall. You'll see it right at the foot of the stairs.
Thanks. I'll close the door. Then I won't disturb anyone.
Oh, don't mind us. We're leaving now anyway. Good night.
And you'll get me there in time for the 127 to Albany? All right, I'll be on the porch whenever you get here. And don't fail me now. I've had too much trouble finding someone to get me out of here to want you to slip up, too. Okay, goodbye. I don't know why I feel as if Lord, that was close. I don't hear a soul. But an urn that big never fell off that upper landing without being pushed. I'd better see who's up there.
You get some transportation, Mr. Carter?
Doctor, come here.
Yes?
I want to show you something.
What is it? Something wrong?
Look over the railing. See that big urn? All smashed up at the foot of the stairs?
Oh, yes. Why?
That just missed me by inches a moment ago.
You think somebody was trying to kill you?
Think? I'm sure of it. Did you hear anyone up here?
What? Yes. Yes, I did think I heard someone out here a minute ago. So there really is a killer in the house. I hadn't believed it before.
Did you fellas hear anything?
Why, no. Did you?
Thought I heard a crash.
Well, you did. Someone tried to kill me.
By golly, then I did hear somebody tiptoe past my door a bit back.
You know who it was?
No, it sounded like they went down the back stairs to the kitchen.
Let's see who's down there.
If anyone is, which I doubt.
Come on.
I'll be safe a minute until he's gone.
Don't worry. We'll make it so hot for him, he'll be glad to go.
Alec, we can't.
Mrs. Fraser, I've changed my mind. I'm staying for the night.
You're staying here?
Yes.
I'd hoped I'd seen the last of you.
You almost did, until someone dropped that oversized plaster vase at my head.
It was a wonderful idea. I'm sorry it missed. Well, I'll show you where you can sleep. Come on.
That sun feels good. Damp inside that old house. Well, 8 o'clock. Wonder what time they serve breakfast around here.
Starting your snooping early, aren't you?
Why, yes. Lovely morning for it. Out for a walk in the sunshine?
Just out to get the mail, if you must know. I'll let you know if there's anything for you in the box.
Thanks, but I'm not expecting anything.
Oh, I'm happy to say nobody else thinks any more of you than I do. There's no mail.
Downstairs, drop to the ground.
Well, this looks more serious. Is someone trying to kill Sharon, or is it Nick they're trying to get? And why? What is this to do with the hate that seems to rule the Fraser household? We'll see in just a moment. You youngsters are sometimes thoughtless about tracking in mud, slush, and snow these winter days. Even the careful grown-ups sometimes can't help it. But it needn't be a problem to keep your floors looking lovely when you depend on Linex self-polishing wax to protect them. That's because Linex self-polishing wax resists water. It keeps dirt on the surface, too, so that you can clean it up instantly. And because it contains genuine carnauba wax, Linex self-polishing wax resists wear, although it's simply wiped on without tiresome rubbing or polishing. And it's handy to use, because when worn spots do appear in the finish, you may renew it without re-waxing the whole floor. There's no doubt about it. Linex self-polishing wax is a splendid finish for any floor, wood, tile, or linoleum, for it gives a beautiful satiny appearance and gives protection besides. What's more, the underwriters' laboratories, whose seal is on every bottle, have proved that it's less slippery underfoot. Here's the modern shortcut to floor care. Linex, Lin-X, Linex self-polishing wax. Ask your dealer for it now. You'll find all 3 great Linex home brighteners and Chemtone, the Miracle Wall finish, at hardware, paint, and department stores everywhere. And now, back to our story. We left Nick and Sharon as they were being shot at by an unknown killer who seemed to be hiding in the nearby brush. Down, Sharon! Drop to the ground! He's gone now. You hurt?
Not much. Did you see who it was?
No. Saw the bushes move, that's all. It wasn't Peter Rabbit. Let me see that arm.
It's nothing.
Ah, yeah, right. Just a bad scratch. You'll be all right. Here. Let me help you back to the house.
Thanks. I feel a little fuzzy. I don't like being shot at.
You're lucky his aim was no better. He might have killed you.
I know.
What's going on here? Did I hear shooting?
You did. Take care of Sharon. I'm going to do some investigating.
Hello there. Looking for something?
Yes. Looking for a killer.
A killer?
Yes. The man I'm looking for has my mark on him. I found blood in the bushes from which he did his shooting.
Well, maybe that's the man I saw.
What do you mean?
Well, I was driving up the back road and I saw somebody in here. I was curious, so I stopped and I came in. But I must have missed whoever it was.
Well, there's no one here now, that's sure. So if your car is here, you can drive me back to the house.
Well, of course. Car's right over there behind the tree.
Oh, yes, I see it.
Did the killer get anybody?
No, he was a poor shot. But he intended murder, all right.
Here we are. Climb in, Mr. Carter.
I see you have a rifle in the car here.
Why, yes.
Mind if I look at it?
Not at all.
Nice little gun. Haven't had time to clean it, have you?
I know. I was doing a bit of hunting this morning on the way out.
I see. Let's be getting back, shall we?
Well, that is a coincidence, Mr. Carter. Look there, just coming around the corner of the house.
Uncle Roy with a rifle. Wonder what he's been shooting. Think I'll have a talk with him.
Okay, I'll see you later. Hope he's not the one you're after.
Get anything?
No, didn't see a thing.
Nice gun you've got there. May I see it?
Oh, sure. Here you are.
Oh, nice balance.
Yeah.
Dirty, isn't it? Thought you hadn't shot it today.
I haven't. I must have forgot to clean it the last time.
Smells pretty fresh for that.
What are you getting at with all them questions?
Somebody shot Sharon a little while ago.
Sharon? She hurt bad?
No, but that's only because the killer missed. Do you know anything about it?
Me? Why, Mr. Carter, I loved that girl as if she was my own daughter.
And why'd you accuse her last night of killing her brother?
That was for her own protection, Mr. Carter. I hoped you'd take her away someplace and lock her up where she'd be safe.
Isn't she safe here?
No, sirree. If she stays around here, she'll be murdered, too. I know what's going on around here.
And who'd want to kill her?
Why, there's...
I'm sorry to interrupt, but Mrs. Frazier's very low. Maybe you better come up, Roy.
Sure, Doc. Where's Sharon?
In her room, resting.
How is she, Doc?
It'll be all right. Excitement and shock were too much for her.
If Mrs. Fraser is really worse, maybe I better get her.
Get who? Me?
Yes, Sharon, your mother's pretty bad.
Oh.
Quiet now.
Looks about the same to me.
Thy life shall hang in doubt before thee, and thou shalt fear day and night, and have no assurance of thy life.
Oh, don't be tiresome, Mother.
Sharon, please.
Oh, she is.
I'll wait downstairs, I guess.
Oh, there you are, Carter. Thought you might like to see the results of the analysis of the milk you say killed Don Fraser.
Yes, I'd like to. You have it?
Sure have. According to this, Don's glass of milk contained calcium, phosphorus, lactic acid, water, and 5% butterfat. In other words, Mr. Carter, just plain milk. Yeah.
How about the other sample I gave you? The milk from Mrs. Fraser's glass.
That? Didn't even look at the report on that. She wasn't killed, was she?
No, but she claims she was being poisoned. What does that analysis show?
Let's see. What's hyacinth?
A slow-acting poison.
Well, I'll be darned. Says here there was enough hyacinth in Mrs. Fraser's milk to have poisoned half the county.
I thought so.
Then why was it Don who got poisoned instead of the old lady?
Sheriff, this is all part of a well-thought-out plan. A plan to commit wholesale murder, unless we can stop it.
Carter, you're crazy. You carry any guns?
Why, of course I do. One.
Better let me have it. Be safer that way.
Why should I turn my gun over to you?
As sheriff of this district, it's my duty to see that nobody carries a gun he ain't got a permit for. And I don't trust you. You see things don't exist.
Okay, Sheriff. I know I have no rights in this part of the state. Just a minute. There you are, Sheriff.
Look, what's the idea of taking out the cartridges before you turn the gun over to me?
I don't trust you any more than you do me. I'd hate to be shot with my own gun.
Why? All right. Give it back to you when you're ready to leave. I hope it'll be soon.
Just as soon as I find out a few answers I don't know yet.
Oh, Sheriff, how about anything yet?
Nothing that helps, Matt.
Sharon, if you children didn't get your mother's money when she dies, to whom would it go?
Well, Uncle Roy would get it.
And if Uncle Roy didn't get it?
It goes to some charity, I think. What are you getting at?
Does your mother take small doses of hyacinth as a sedative?
Yes, and it's darned expensive.
Could anybody get at it?
Probably. It's not locked up. What is all this?
I wonder just how sick your mother really is.
You coward. Trying to drag a sick woman's name into this mess.
I'm dragging nobody, and I'm just trying
to... Too loud, please. Mrs. Frazier's feeling better now.
Where's Uncle Roy?
I left him with Mrs. Frazier.
You what? Great grief, get out of my way.
Why, Mr. Carter, what's the name?
I was afraid of that.
Vengeance is mine. Vengeance is mine. I will repay, says the Lord. Vengeance is mine.
Carter, what's happening?
Sure.
Uncle Roy.
Yes, Uncle Roy. Dead.
So she killed Uncle Roy. Stabbed him in the back.
Yes. Must have made him lean over the bed and then drove the knife in his back.
Vengeance is mine.
I should have warned you, Mr.
Vengeance
Carter.
is mine.
I've known for a long time that she was dangerously insane, but I never dreamed she would go this far.
First Don, now Uncle Roy.
Mr. Carter, do you mean that Mrs. Fraser had anything to do with Don's death?
That's ridiculous. How could she have killed Don?
It was really very easy, Sharon. Just as soon as I found the analysis showed hyacinth in her milk, I knew the answer. She coaxed Don to try it. And there was so much poison in it that even the sip he took was fatal. The poison made him sleepy, and he went to his own room to lie down.
But why? Why should she want to do it?
I'll get to that in a minute.
Well, old Mrs. Fraser certainly wasn't the one who fired at Sharon this morning.
Naturally not. But if you'd got there a little sooner, Alex, you would have caught the murderer red-handed. He stopped his car by the road, ran into the brush, shot at Sharon, missed her because he was in a hurry, and then got back in his car and drove on.
Do you know who it was who did the shooting, Mr. Carter?
I do. It was the same one who was responsible for Don's death and for Uncle Roy's.
But you said Mother killed them.
You notice I said the one who was responsible. Your mother isn't responsible. She's just the instrument the murderer used to accomplish his ends.
But who is it then?
Sharon, whose leather jacket is that on the chair behind you?
Leather jacket? What?
Yes.
That's Dr. Gavin's. I remember he wore it when he helped me into the house this morning.
Look at the right sleeve.
The right sleeve? Oh, I see. There's blood on it. It must have come from where I was shot when I leaned on him.
That isn't your blood, Sharon. You'll find more blood inside the sleeve, which certainly couldn't have come from your arm.
What are you getting at, Mr. Carter?
The real murderer is the one who could best work on poor Mrs. Fraser's mind with drugs and suggestions. The one who implanted in her sick mind the idea that her children were evil and wicked. The only one who could have left a surgeon's scalpel where her hand could get at it when she wanted to stab Uncle Roy, in compliance with his suggestion.
Carter, you mean the Dr. Gavin?
Yes, Alec, that's what he means. And he's quite right.
Dr. Gavin, you...
It would have worked out except for you, Carter. I was afraid of you when you first came here. That's why I tried to kill you with that urn.
You overplayed your hand, Gavin. If you'd let me go my way as I wanted to, I would never have given the Fraser household a second thought. But you made me mad. And that was your mistake.
I didn't dare let you go.
Like you wished you had this morning when my shots winged you in the arm as you tried to kill Sharon.
I'll get even for that right now.
Dr. Gavin, a gun! You can't...
Oh, yes, he can, Sharon.
Right, Mr. Carter. I happen to know that the sheriff took your gun away from you, so you're helpless. There'll be no last-minute gun battle with you winning the fight. There'll just be one shot for each of you, and I...
Sorry to disappoint you, Gavin. But the sheriff only took one of my guns. He overlooked the one on my shoulder holster, which you see is quite effective. All right, Alec, pick up his gun. I'll get the sheriff. He'll know what to do with a cowardly rat like this.
But I don't understand why Dr. Gavin wanted to get them all killed off. What did he hope to get out of it, Nick?
Well, that was all brought out at the inquest, Nancy. Seems that this Gavin was an imposter. Never was a doctor. Got kicked out of medical school in his senior year for being mixed up in an illegal operation. He met old Mrs. Fraser a few years ago, and in some way convinced her that he was a great doctor. As far as I know, he had no other patients. He concentrated on her because he knew that she had over $1 million salted away. And he wanted it.
But how could he hope to get it, Nick, even if he did kill off all the other heirs?
Well, Patsy, remember I told you that after the children and Uncle Roy were killed, the money was to go to some charity?
Yes, I remember that.
Well, investigation showed that the charity that was to get the money was a phony outfit that Gavin had fixed up for the occasion. In other words, Gavin and the charity were one and the same thing, and existed only for the purpose of getting the Fraser million.
That's a pretty clever setup at that.
Yes, but Gavin forgot one thing, though.
What was that?
When he was whispering biblical quotations to the old lady, he should remember the one that goes, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, a life for a life.
Oh, I see what you mean. That's the one that applies to him right now. A life for a life. Too bad he missed that one.
Well, how are you, Patsy? Any word from Nick?
Oh, just a minute, Nick. Oh, hello, Lieutenant. I'm talking to Nick right now.
Oh.
Want to say hello to him?
Well, sure. Why not?
Nick?
Yes?
Lieutenant Riley just dropped in. He wants to say hello to you. Hold on.
Nothing doing. That's one reason I came up here for a vacation, just so I wouldn't have to say hello to Riley.
Oh, but Nick...
Bye-bye, Patsy. See you when I get back.
Well, he couldn't wait to talk to you, Lieutenant, but he said to give you his regards anyway.
In just a moment, Nick and Patsy will give you a preview of next week's exciting case. But before they do, here's a hint to every good hostess. When you invite guests these days, it's so brisk outside, there's an added warmth of hospitality inside a home that's beautifully cared for. And your home has that look when you care for your floors, your woodwork, your furniture, with the 3 great Linex home brighteners. You'll notice, for instance, that your furniture takes on new loveliness when you've used Linex cream polish to remove that cloudy accumulation of dust and previous polish. For Linex cream polish cleans as it polishes your furniture. Yes, it's true. In one quick, easy application, you banish messy fingerprints and dirt from your furniture, leaving a gleaming luster without that oily film which attracts more dust, makes more work. Linex cream polish saves one whole step in your cleaning day routine. And you'll like the way it helps conceal ugly scratches, too. Get it at your dealers now. Linex cream polish, spelled Lin-X. Get all 3 great Linex home brighteners, Linex self-polishing wax, Linex cream polish, and Linex clear gloss varnish at your nearest hardware, paint, or department store. And now let's hear from Nick Carter himself. Well, Nick, what can you tell us about your next thriller?
A young friend of mine fell heir to a large and prosperous farm. But the 3 members of the family who had owned the farm before him had all 3 died within a period of 4 years.
Their deaths were also natural and so perfectly open and above board that he got suspicious. Everything looked too good.
Well, that seems like a peculiar way to feel.
Well, Ken, the peculiar part of it came in when we started our investigations and found he was right.
And found it out only just in time to save the life of the young fellow himself. The whole thing was extremely cleverly worked out.
What do you call it, Nick?
Ready for murder.
Or the mystery of the dead Scotty.
Now, so long.
So long, everybody.
And so long to you both. See you again next week as usual. Next week at this same time, listen to another curious experience of Nick Carter, Master Detective, entitled
Ready for Murder. Or Nick Carter and the Mystery of the Dead Scotty.
Nick Carter, Master Detective, is featured in Street and Smith magazines. Lon Clark is starred as Nick with Helen Choate as Patsy. Original music is played by Lou White, and the programs are written and directed by Jock McGregor. Nick Carter, Master Detective, is presented at this time and over these same stations each week by the 3 great Linex home brighteners. Linex clear gloss varnish, Linex cream polish, and Linex self-polishing wax, created by Acme, America's great producer of Acme fine quality paints. This is Ken Powell speaking for the thousands of Linex dealers all over America and saying so long until next week. This is Mutual.
This I believe. Mr. Zoo is the name that identifies George P. Vierheller, the director of the St. Louis Zoological Gardens. Until the age of 36, he led a rather humdrum life as a telegrapher. He and the Morse code came to a parting of the ways when he suffered telegrapher's thumb. He became the secretary of the Zoological Board of Control, and it was not long before he moved out to the zoo. That was 33 years ago. But the slender, wiry zoo director with his ruddy complexion, white hair, and bright blue eyes never seems to grow tired of watching, talking about, and showing visitors the animals and shows in his garden. Here is George Vierheller.
In this era of bewildering conflicts between nations and even between factions within our own nation, I find it difficult to know to what truisms in my thinking I wish to give the label, this I believe. So often these days one's most ardent beliefs are either pushed aside or modified by the very force of someone else's disbelief. But when I tune out the static of the age in which we live, I do find some clear-cut fundamentals that have been and still are the code of my life. I believe in the individual, and I believe in opportunity. I believe that in spite of the keenly competitive nature of present-day society, each one of us, given the proper freedom of choice and incentive, can reach the top of his own capability wave if he so wishes. I believe, too, that the inner satisfaction stimulated by striving for the accomplishment peak can often outshadow the urge to grasp for monetary reward alone and can decrease the expectation of high pay for inferior workmanship. I have tried to encourage and to praise my employees whenever possible. I believe that much of my personal success and the success of the St. Louis Zoo has been achieved by my belief in the men who work for me. Although there must be a beginning somewhere from which we move, I believe that a degree of discontent is healthy. Once, when I was much younger and applying for one of my first jobs, the man who was interviewing me said, "This is the opening we have. If you are completely satisfied with it, you are not the man we want." I believe the urge to improve is vital to a well-adjusted life. The things that have been done can always be bettered. One's inner self and one's work should never become stagnant. To me, a life that follows a horizontal wave, showing no growth and no change, could be a living death. I also believe in service. The desire to serve something, one's community, one's church, one's chosen work, is, to me, a requirement of being alive. My father used to say that he did each day's work as if on that day he was proving his fitness to hold his job. His philosophy to serve impressed me when I was a child, and I think I have always tried to follow it. I believe that more knowledge can often be acquired by sugarcoating the source of it than by cold statements or representations. Old-time zoos told, in their way, just as much about the variances and awesomeness of nature, but they drove the people away. We, by adding pleasure to our educational features, have brought visitors from many parts of the world to us. I believe in the family. Mine has encouraged me to grow and to look upon each day as a rung on a ladder leading to something new. And finally, I believe in friendship. We cannot live this life alone. I like people. I like to do things for people. I believe it is good to have life around me. Perhaps that is why I have liked working with animals. I feel that my profession has helped me to give of myself to life.
Those were the beliefs of George P. Vierheller, the director of the Zoological Gardens in his native St. Louis.
Night Beat.
Hi, this is Randy Stone. I cover the night beat for the Chicago Star. Stories start in many different ways. This one started with a girl and a full load of hate. You can't beat that combination for trouble.
Night Beat, starring Frank Lovejoy as Randy Stone.
Sure, I've been known to complain about working the night beat, but just between you and me, I wouldn't trade with anyone. You see, I've got a theory about people at night. I think they look different and they act different. When the sun goes down, something happens inside. Something changes in the head and the heart of a man. I guess science would call it human chemistry. I call it human nature. In the dark of night, people are more vulnerable to romance, hate, and temptation. A shy guy makes love. A pillar of roaring virtue gets roaring drunk. A coward beats his wife. Men plot to steal, and they do steal. They plot to kill, and they kill. By day, face the facts, the old well-known cold, clear light of day. Let the sunshine boys face the facts. I'll see them in the making. You know, tracking down stories is a weird business. One night I'll find a yarn right off sitting out in the open staring at me. Another night, I'll have to stalk the town like a bird dog. Tonight I didn't want a story, I wanted a beer. So I went into Louis' saloon and drew myself a glass fresh out of the tap. I was sitting there staring at her when she walked in and climbed up on the stool next to me. This little dame with the scared blue eyes.
I've been looking for you all night.
Oh, what took you so long?
I went to a lot of places. Almost gave it up, and a kid I know sells papers said you might be in here.
You mean you were looking for me in particular?
You're Randy Stone, aren't you?
Yeah.
I was looking for you in particular.
Oh, mm-hmm. You want a beer? Louis in the back. I'll draw you one.
No, thanks. I want to talk to you. Private.
Well, right here is good. We're alone. Everyone seems to be nowhere tonight. Now, what are we going to talk about?
You're a reporter on the Chicago Star, aren't you, Mr. Stone?
Well, at the moment, my position with the Star is of minor importance.
What do you mean?
Nothing. Drop the Mr. Make it Randy. What do I call you?
Mary.
Well, yes, Mary, I am a reporter on the Chicago Star. Now, what's your story?
That's what I want to talk to you about. I've got a story.
Honey, you don't know it, but I've been waiting for you. Start talking. I'm listening hard.
It's not for free. I got to get paid for it.
Oh, well, that... This calls for music. Wait till I put a nickel in this thing. Sure you don't want a beer?
No, thanks.
I don't buy stories.
I think you'll buy this one.
Yeah, for how much?
$500.
$500? Look, Mary, you're a cute kid, but you're a dreamer. I don't make that much in a month. If you know who killed Cock Robin, I couldn't pay $500 for the story.
You could if I knew who killed Marty Crane.
Marty Crane, the gambler? I didn't know that he'd been killed.
Neither does anyone else.
Not even the police?
No.
Well, don't you think you ought to tell them? That's the kind of story they get real interested in.
Yeah, but they wouldn't pay me for it. I need $500, bad. They wouldn't give it to me, but you will. It'll mean a lot to the Star to get the story first. Mean a lot to you, too.
I haven't got $500.
You could get it from your paper.
You're crazy. Marty Crane dead? I don't believe it.
Okay, forget it.
All right, wait a minute. Let's not get sore. Maybe you better fill me in a little.
I don't know what you mean.
Well, all right, point number one. If nobody else knows Marty Crane is dead, how do you? And if you do, where's your proof?
I'll take you to him. You'll see him yourself. He'll be dead.
Well, that's pretty good proof. Murdered?
Yes, murdered.
And you'll tell me who did it?
I won't just tell you. I'll show you who did it.
Somebody come in?
Never mind, it's all right.
Oh, it's you, Randy. Okay.
You know, I could go to the police and tell them what you've told me. They'd find Crane's body, and I'd get the story for nothing.
And so would every other newspaper in town.
Yeah. Well, say I did get the $500, and say you did prove Marty Crane had been murdered. I'd have to call the police then.
I know.
And if you told me who killed him, I'd have to spill that, too.
You can do anything you want after you give me the money.
And when I do that?
After I give you Crane and his murderer.
I see.
It's got to be cash.
Now, you don't look like the kind of a girl who'd sell somebody out for dough. You must have a big hate on.
Only one person I hate. Marty Crane.
You know, you don't make sense. If you hate Crane, why rat on the guy that killed him?
I need the money.
You must need it awful bad.
You want to buy or don't you?
I don't know. Like I said, I haven't got $500, but like you said, I could get it. Maybe. I need some time.
You've got till midnight.
It won't take me that long. Let's make it an hour.
All right. I'll wait for you. Right here.
Randy Stone with rocks for brains. That's what I was thinking as I headed out of Louis' saloon. At the door, I turned around and looked at her, and something hurt in my throat. She looked like a little kid on that big, tall bar stool with her knees pulled up and her chin tucked under. All she needed was a dunce cap on her head. Or was I the one that raided the cap? Marty Crane was a crook and a louse. That innocent-looking little dame wanted to sell out the killer of a louse for $500. It didn't make sense. But I worked for a living, and if her story were true, we could scoop the town. It'd be worth $500. If. I had to weigh that big fat if against my job. I couldn't risk the paper's money on her word. I needed more to go on. Needed to protect my bet. I went down to police headquarters for a chat with Kowski.
Yeah, but you know as much about the heel as we do. Why all the sudden interest in Marty Crane?
Well, who knows, Kowski? Call it a hunch, maybe a rumor. I thought there might be something cooking with Crane.
Well, if there is, we don't know about it.
You know anybody that'd like to get rid of him?
Plenty of people, including yours truly. To quote the old man, Crane is a blot on the department's escutcheon, if you know what that means.
I knew it sounds profane.
He's slick like oil, this guy. One day he'll lose off in the wrong direction. We'll remove the blot. We'd have done it a couple of months ago if it hadn't been for Leonard Palmer.
Leonard Palmer?
You don't know him?
Oh, yeah, sure. He's a lawyer.
He's a magician.
He defended Crane on a murder charge, didn't he?
Yeah, the Callahan boy. Crane shot him. Palmer got him off on a self-defense.
Oh, yes, I remember. They had to fumigate the courtroom after that trial. Well, thanks for the rundown, Kalski.
Oh, stick around. This place is like a mall.
No, I can't do it. But if my hunch pans out, that's probably where I'll see you later. At the morgue. The next move I made was so simple and logical that I gave myself a 0 for not doing it in the first place. I found a phone booth and called Marty Crane's apartment. I want to talk to Marty Crane.
He ain't in.
Are you sure?
I said he ain't in, which means he ain't in.
You don't know where I can catch him, do you?
Who wants to know?
A friend of his. It's important.
I don't know where he is.
Now, listen, I got to get in touch with him. For his sake, it's important.
I said I don't know where he is, which means I don't know where he is.
Well, can you think of any place he might be?
I don't know of no place.
Do you know anybody I might call that might know where he is?
I don't know of nobody.
Oh, you're a big help. Just tell me this. When did you last see him? How long ago?
Look, kid, I'm just a houseboy around here. I ain't the information window. If you got questions to ask, call his lawyer. Ask him anything you want, but don't ask me. I don't know nothing, which means I don't know nothing.
I gave myself another 0, but at least I'd gotten an idea from that fountain of information. I went through the book for Leonard Palmer's address. It was a very expensive address. The carpet sunk up to my ankles, but I made it across the room and eased into a lush, tight sofa, one of those short deals they call a love seat. While I was sitting there, I wondered why.
Can I make you a drink?
No, thank you. It's a very fancy layout you've got here, Mr. Palmer. Very fancy.
I find law practice quite profitable.
Yeah, you've caught the hang of it, all right.
What can I do for you, Mr. Stone?
Tell me where to find Marty Crane.
Oh, is he lost?
Well, I don't know. I'm looking for him. His apartment said I should try you.
His apartment made an error. As you can see, he's not here.
But maybe you know where he is.
I don't know what gave you that idea.
Well, you're his lawyer.
Precisely. However, my duties as such do not include that of nursemaid.
Let's get nasty.
I'm sorry you get that impression. If I were looking for Mr. Crane at this time of night, I'd try his various nightclubs.
Like which ones?
I believe he owns several. The Red Dot, the Coronet. Oh, I really couldn't say. I'm afraid I can't be of any help to you at all.
If I told you that I thought something had happened to Marty Crane, would that change your attitude?
Not in the least.
You went to a lot of trouble to save his neck on that Callahan murder. Seems like you'd want to protect your efforts.
I was paid for my efforts.
It wouldn't bother you if I said maybe Crane was dead?
Not in the least. As an individual, he means nothing to me. Few people do. My main interest is money, and I'm free to admit it.
Know anybody that would want to kill him?
I dare say there are many people.
You included?
I? That's ridiculous. I'd lose a client. It would necessitate rearranging my income tax returns. Any more questions, Mr. Stone?
No more questions. I wanted answers to my questions, and I couldn't get any. I called nightclubs Crane owned, and some he didn't. No one had seen him. No one knew where he was, or if they did, they wouldn't say. Mary's story was beginning to smell true. Time was getting close, and I headed for the office. Now, I had to do the impossible. I had to get blood out of a turnip. A two-legged turnip named Hastings, my master, my dearly beloved managing editor.
$500? You are out of your mind.
Oh, what have we got to lose?
Your job. This is a newspaper. You're paid to find stories, not to buy them.
Now, listen, this is big. If it works, we'll scoop everybody.
If it works.
I've been all over town. Nobody has seen Crane. Everybody gives me the runaround. My hunch is strong that she's telling the truth. And look, if she doesn't produce, I don't give her the money. You'll get it back. How can you beat a deal like that?
Okay, Randy, okay. So I'll give you the $500, but it's against my principles. If you ever let it get around, I'll have you drawn and quartered.
Yes, sir, and thank you. I don't know what to say. I'm touched.
No, I am. I'm also an idiot.
I wouldn't say
We
that.
endeavor to maintain a schedule around here. Our jobs are more secure, and everyone is much happier when the paper comes out on time. I hate to bother you with humdrum, but it's late.
I know you told me.
Bylines are a dime a dozen.
I hear you. Just give me the dough. I'll be back with my story on time, or I'll kill myself. How's that?
Oh, that seems fair and reasonable. I like your attitude.
He's a lovely guy, Hastings. He's so dependable. If he says he's going to break your neck, you can depend on it. I'd stuck my neck out for breaking, and I knew it. How I got the $500 out of that heart of gold, I'll never know. But I had it, cash in my pocket. And if you don't think I was worried, you're crazy. I ran all the way back to Louis' saloon. When I got there, a drunk was hanging on the jukebox. Louis was behind the bar. In front of the bar, nobody.
What's the matter, Randy? You don't look so good.
That girl that was here, where is she, Louis?
Yeah, she left about 5 minutes ago.
Oh, no.
Yeah, she told me to be sure and tell you something. What the heck was it?
Yeah, Louis, what the heck was it?
Oh, she said to tell you she's coming back. She said, tell him I'll meet him here at exactly 10 minutes to 12.
10 minutes to 12? I can't wait that long.
Yeah, he must have it bad for this dame.
I'd like to boil her in oil. I got a deadline to meet. It won't wait. I staked my job on that little dame.
Hey, Louis, I'm all out of nickels.
Don't bother me.
If I could only find her, Louis, I'd find her. I don't even know her name.
It's Callahan.
Huh?
Mary Callahan.
You know her?
Sure. She's a nice kid, so don't yap about her in my saloon. I used to be friends with her brother, Danny Callahan. Got shot a couple of months ago.
Wait a minute. Say that again. This girl's the sister of Danny Callahan?
Yeah.
The Danny Callahan that was shot by Marty Crane?
I and a lot of other people around here say he was murdered by Mary Crane. Smart lawyer got him off on self-defense.
Yeah. I know that story. I also know I got to find that girl. She's walking around somewhere with my future in her mean little hands.
NBC is bringing you Night Beat, starring Frank Lovejoy as Randy Stone. The chimes are ringing and laughing in anticipation of the riotous antics promised by two favorites in your NBC fall lineup. The first is Bob Hope, and he returns to the air over most of these NBC stations on Tuesday, October 3rd, with more laughs and timely satire in the unique rapid-fire Hope style. The day after Bob Hope's return, the hilarious quiz game You Bet Your Life makes its NBC debut, featuring that master of the ad-lib and clever quip, Groucho Marx. Bob Hope, October 3rd, and Groucho Marx, October 4th. And now back to Night Beat and Randy Stone.
I was in the soup, and it was hot, and I didn't like it. If Mary Callahan was telling the truth, if Marty Crane really had been murdered, some other people were sure to smell out the story while I was cooling my heels in Louis' bar. My editor would scream like a banshee, and I'd be sweating out unemployment, all because I took the word of a little blue-eyed stool pigeon who promised to sell out Marty Crane's murderer for $500. I had the $500 in my pocket. I think I must have put my brains in my pockets, too. Louis stood there watching me burn.
I don't get you, Randy. What are you sore at Mary about? Like I told you, she's a nice kid.
Maybe you don't know her like I do.
What did she do to you?
She welched on a deal. She said she'd wait for me right here.
She said she'd be back. I told you that. She'll be back.
At midnight.
10 hours.
Well, I can't wait. I got a deadline to beat. No story.
It's barely an hour till midnight, Randy.
You don't know how mad Hastings can get in an hour. Some other paper scoops me out on that story. I'm a has-been. Oh, that dame, I could kill her.
I repeat, she's a nice kid.
Yeah. Look, Louis. This brother of hers that Marty Crane shot. Mary like him?
Sure. She was crazy about him.
It's unbelievable.
What do you mean? He was a nice guy.
I don't mean that. I mean it's unbelievable what some people will do for money.
I don't follow your conversation.
Well, don't try. I got to find that girl. Any idea where she'd go?
I don't know. Maybe she went home.
Where's home? You know where she lives?
Well, yeah, but in the mood you're in, I don't know if I ought to tell you.
Come on, Louie. I won't hit her. I'd like to, but for you, I'll skip the pleasure. I give you my word. After some gentle but firm persuasion, Louie took my word and gave me her address. I didn't have any trouble with the carpets in that place. There weren't any. Up 4 flights of stairs, it groaned and shuddered with every step. The light in the hall was so dim I had to strike a match to read the number on the door. It checked with the one Louie gave me, so I knocked. I heard someone shuffle across the room inside. The door opened. A little old woman stood there peering at me.
What?
Before she even said anything, just the look in her eyes told me that everything wasn't quite right with her.
I can't see you very well. Are you someone I know?
I'm afraid not. I'm looking for Mary Callahan.
Are you a friend of Mary's?
Well, yes. Is she here?
I'm Mary's mother. Won't you come inside?
Oh, thank you. My name is Randy Stone, Mrs. Callahan. I'm sorry to call so late.
Please sit down.
No, thank you. Really, I can't stay. I just wanted to speak to Mary. Is she home?
I'm worried about Mary. Are you a friend of Danny's?
No, I didn't know Danny.
Well, that's too bad. Danny was such a nice boy to know.
I'm very anxious to see Mary, Mrs. Callahan. Isn't she here?
No.
You have any idea where I can find her?
Did you say you knew Danny?
No, I didn't know Danny.
Danny's dead, you know. I expect you read about him in the papers.
Yeah.
It wasn't true. Danny couldn't have tried to kill anyone. Not Danny. It was the lawyer that made people think he did. What was that lawyer's name?
Palmer. Leonard Palmer.
Yes, of course, Leonard Palmer. He's not dead, is he? He's a very clever man. What was it you wanted to know about Mary?
I'm trying to find her. I've got to talk to her.
She was here.
When? How long ago?
Not long. She only stayed a minute.
Do you know where she went?
That's the picture of Danny right there. He is a fine-looking boy, isn't he?
Yes, you bet he is.
Yes. And he was a brave boy. He knew things about Marty Crane. That's why Crane shot him. Then that lawyer made everybody believe that Danny had tried to shoot him first. Such a clever man. What was his name?
Please, Mrs. Callahan, did Mary say where she was going?
She said she had an appointment with someone at 12 o'clock, and if she was late, I shouldn't worry. But I am worried.
Well, the appointment was with me. I was hoping I could catch her before then.
Oh, that's too bad. Maybe she's still at Mr. Green's.
Mr. Green's?
I remember she said something about going by Mr. Green's to pick up something. My memory isn't very good since then.
Where is Mr. Green's?
There's a pawn shop down the street. That's where Danny was killed, you know. Mr. Green's pawn shop.
Mr. Green's pawn shop was closed up and dark, but way in the back I could see a sliver of light under the door. I made a lot of racket with the front door, and finally the one in back opened, and Mr. Green came staggering towards me. At first, I thought he was drunk. But when he let me in, I got a good look at him. I knew different. He'd been beaten half to death.
Who are you? What do you want?
Well, you better sit down. You don't look like you're going to make it. Who did this to you?
Nobody. I don't know. I don't know anything.
You didn't beat yourself up like that. Who did it?
What do you want here? Who are you?
I'm looking for Mary Callahan. Her mother said she was coming here.
I was afraid maybe you...
Go on. Afraid maybe I was what?
No, Mary was here a little while ago.
I keep on just missing. She didn't say where she was going, did she?
No, she didn't say anything about that, I remember. All I remember, she told me after tonight, I won't have to worry anymore. I won't have to be afraid.
Afraid of what?
You're not from the police, are you?
No. I told you. Mrs. Callahan sent me here. I'm looking for Mary. Why don't you tell me what happened to you? Who beat you up? What are you afraid of?
They tell me to leave town or I'll get worse next time. How can I leave? I've never been anyplace else. Where would I go?
Who is they?
Marty Crane's boys.
Marty Crane? What have you got to do with him? Oh, wait a minute. He shot Danny Callahan here in your shop, didn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, he murdered Danny right here in this room. And I seen him do it, but I couldn't tell. He said he would kill me if I did. But I don't care anymore. I might as well get it over with. Might as well be dead as the way I am. Where could I go?
Now, you listen to me. You try to pull yourself together. You're going to be all right, I promise you. Now, right now, I've got to know if Marty Crane did this to you. Was he here tonight? Did you see him?
No, maybe he was. 3 or 4, maybe
was
4.
Was Crane one of them? I've got to know.
It happened so fast he might have been, but I don't know. I can't remember.
I got the poor old guy to bed and went back to Louie's place. I didn't know what else to do. It was 20 to 12 and I was nowhere. I called Hastings. He gave me what was left of his mind. Either I got right in there with a story or I needn't bother to get in at all. Somehow I didn't care much. I kept thinking about that poor, crazy Mrs. Callahan and Danny and that old beaten man. Louie poured me a beer, and I was wondering how I could drown myself in it when a cab pulled up in front and Mary Callahan got out. She stood at the door and motioned me to come outside.
Well, did you get the money?
Yes, I got it.
Cash?
Yeah, but you're a little late.
What do you mean? You're not going to back out. Not now, you can't.
I'm all out of time. I got a deadline to beat. I staked my job on your story.
I've staked my life on it. You'll have your story in 10 minutes. I swear you will. Please get in the cab.
All of a sudden, I don't know if I want the story, job or no job.
What are you giving me?
I went out looking for you tonight. I found a lot of things that are hard to believe, like your mother and a little guy named Green.
Oh, wasting time.
I guess my guts aren't as strong as yours, but after what I've seen, I think anybody who would kill Marty Crane is a hero. I don't get you at all. Your mother's half off her head, your own brother is dead, and you tell who killed a skunk like Crane for a lousy $500.
I don't care what you think of me. I didn't ask you to like me. That wasn't in the deal. I said I proved Crane was dead, and I tell you who killed him. You said you'd pay me $500 for it. I'm ready to keep my word. Now, what are you going to do?
Okay. Go on, get in the cab. The cab took us to one of Crane's nightclubs, the Coronet Club. I followed Mary upstairs to an office with a door marked private. She told me to wait, and she went over and knocked on the door. I heard a girl laughing as the door opened, and there stood the dead man. Marty Crane himself in person, alive and leering.
Well, Mary Callahan, right on time.
Yeah, right on time.
You know, I was surprised when you called, said you wanted to see me. I'm even more surprised you kept our appointment. But pleasantly so. Come on in, dear.
Want to be crowded?
Well, I wanted to see you alone.
Yes, of course. Doris was just leaving, weren't you, darling?
Oh, but naturally. You say so, darling. It's all yours, honey. Just hope you're fleet-footed.
That's enough, Doris. I'll call you later, maybe.
I want home like breath.
Shall we go inside?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, I don't get it.
Oh. Hello.
No, hello.
What can I do for you?
Oh, not a thing.
Oh, it's too bad. You looking for somebody up here?
No, not anymore. That was Marty Crane I just saw, wasn't it?
Sure was.
Would you say there was anything dead about him?
Oh, Marty dead?
Oh.
Oh, no, not Marty. I'm dead about him. He's the life of the party, that guy. Almost too alive to suit me. He's... What's going on around
Get
here?
out of my way, will you?
For crying out loud, what's going on?
Mary.
Yeah.
Mary, you crazy kid.
Here's your story, Randy Stone. He's dead, isn't he?
Yeah, he's dead.
And it's plain to see who did it, isn't it?
Why, Mary? Why did you do it?
I had to. Somebody had to. I've been wanting to even up with him for a long time. But I had to have that $500 first. I had a hard time figuring out how to get it. But it's mine now, isn't it?
What good is it going to do you now?
It's going to save my neck. The same way he saved his when he killed Danny. It was self-defense. Nobody saw it happen. Leonard Palmer is a very clever man. He can prove it was self-defense, and I've got his price. $500. Cash. In advance.
I'll make my deadline. We'll scoop the town. Hastings is a happy man, but I'm not. I wonder who's going to have to tell Mary that she's not going to get away with it. I don't like the story. I wish it had never happened. But it's written, and a lot of people will read it, and in a couple of weeks it'll be forgotten. Only I'll remember, and I'll always wish I'd known first what was really going on behind those scared blue eyes. Copy, boy.
Just a minute, Frank. You know we have a distinguished newspaper woman here as our guest tonight.
I certainly do, Don. Miss Agnes Underwood, the only woman city editor of a metropolitan newspaper in the entire United States.
Not only is she the city editor of the Los Angeles Herald-Express, Frank, but Miss Underwood has also written a book.
I know that, too. It's called Newspaper Woman, telling about her own experiences as a reporter. Welcome to radio, Miss Underwood. It's an honor to share a microphone with you.
Thank you, Frank. But tonight I'm the one who's handing out the honors.
Oh?
Sincerely, Frank, on behalf of Theta Sigma Phi, National Fraternity for Women in Journalism, may I present you with this scroll and our compliments for your honest and convincing portrayal of a newspaper man on this show, Night Beat. Also, honors from the profession to both you and Miss Patricia Neal for your portrayals of a newspaper man and newspaper woman in the Warner Brothers motion picture, Three Secrets.
Well, thank you, Miss Underwood. Thank you very much.
And Frank, that's Aggie to a co-worker.
Okay, Aggie. And I know Pat Neal will be just as thrilled as I am with the award.
Good night, Frank.
Good night, Aggie.
Night Beat, starring Frank Lovejoy, is produced and directed by Warren Lewis and edited by Larry Marcus. Tonight's story was written by Marty Wilkinson with music by Frank Worth. Portions were transcribed. The part of Mary was played by Betty Moran. Others in tonight's cast were Peggy Weber, Larry Dobkin, Lou Krugman, Jack Crucian, and Stan Waxman. Frank Lovejoy will next be seen in Milton Sperling's production Three Secrets, released by Warner Brothers. Listen next week at this time and every week as Randy Stone searches through the city for the strange stories waiting for him in the darkness. Night Beat came to you from Hollywood. Three chimes mean good times on NBC. The chimes ring for two favorites returning to the NBC Tuesday night lineup tomorrow. Fibber McGee and Molly will be back at 79 Wistful Vista with all their delightful guests. And Art Linkletter returns with a host of contestants ready and willing to prove that people are funny. That's McGee and Molly and People Are Funny, tomorrow night. This is NBC, the National Broadcasting Company.
This I believe. George R. Higginbotham is the president of the Consolidation Coal Company in his native West Virginia. He has been in the coal business for 25 years, starting as an unskilled laborer. He advanced to various supervisory jobs inside the mines, where day is night and night is night. He emerged from the dark of the mines not only with experience, but with a philosophy. Here is George Higginbotham.
Until I received an invitation to appear on this program, the moral and spiritual beliefs by which I live have never been clearly defined in my mind. Yet, having thought them through and through and discovered the extent to which they govern my everyday action, at the risk of sounding pretentious, I am pleased to call them my creed. With a belief in the power and the need of friendship, one of my rules for living is to avoid, whenever possible, any thought or action which may cause needless distress to another being. This I label my principle of kindness. One of the first requirements for real friendship and one which can easily be overlooked or neglected. I have never found any compensation in making a gain at the expense of another, and I never intentionally make an enemy, nor do I permit an enmity to exist if it lies within my power to remedy the situation. Another practice which has done wonders for both my physical and spiritual well-being is that of reckoning up my faults occasionally. To do this honestly and conscientiously has proved a little frightening on occasions, and has clearly pointed out the truism that perfection is not a tangible reality, but a goal seldom attained. However, to move toward that goal, I try to delineate the personal barriers which I alone can and must overcome. Once I brought them into my own consciousness, their mere recognition helps to promote my improvement and my fuller understanding of their existence in others. This I label my principle of self-analysis. One of my essential beliefs embraces a supreme being. The God I worship demands little material display. His tenets have no certain day for observance, but are as binding on Monday as they were on Sunday. The God I worship has equal forgiveness and compassion for great and small, dark and fair, educated and unlearned. I choose to believe that his principles include the brotherhood of all men who will accept him without the limitations set by men themselves. While geographical and political factors contrive to estrange the various ideologies, I cannot have as a personal belief the theory that anyone who does not worship as I do is in error, nor can I believe that one whose political or moral beliefs conflict with mine is consigned to a flaming hereafter. In my business and social life, people from every station are my friends. It is not my aim to convert others to my beliefs, but to nourish and strengthen these beliefs to my own spiritual satisfaction. This I label my principle of tolerance. A large part of my personal life has been influenced by my family, and they have shared in forming my beliefs. Along with an abiding trust in the essential good of man and his ability to overcome his problems, a more immediate personal hope is that I may leave a heritage of honor and an awareness of truth with my two young sons who will be a part of the future.
Those were the beliefs of George R. Higginbotham, the president of the Consolidation Coal Company in his native West Virginia.
Broadcasting Company presents Dick Powell as Richard Diamond, private detective.
Are you Mr. Diamond?
Yeah, unless there's a warrant out.
Mr. Diamond, I'd like to talk to you about a man.
Oh, they look so unhappy. Can't talk about girls all the time.
Mr. Diamond, this is pretty serious. I'm scared stiff of him.
Why?
Because he's dead.
And here's another exciting case from the files of Richard Diamond, private detective, starring Dick Powell.
Diamond Detective Agency, homicides with class. Ah. Well, that's a pretty good answer.
What kind of a slogan was that, Chalmers?
Oh, my goodness. Sergeant Otis.
That's right.
Well, don't take any bets. I know a dozen people who would swear you were something else.
Oh, now stop the gags. I got something important to talk to you about.
I know what it is.
You do?
I bet you've lost your shoes.
What makes you think that, wise guy?
Well, I drove by the docks this morning and spotted 2 landing barges with laces.
Oh, I give up. Here, you better talk to the lieutenant.
Rick?
Hello, Walt.
Why don't you lay off Otis? He was just calling to ask you to do a favor for us.
What kind of a favor?
The 5th Precinct is having its annual dance next week.
Oh, now, Walt.
Well, what's the matter? Just a couple of songs?
songs, and then you can go home.
Oh, sure. Just like last time. I was just going to be a couple of songs last time, too. But before those lovely cops let me go, I had a crack in my voice like the Liberty Bell.
So this time, I promise. Only 2 songs.
All right. If one of them's Mule Train.
Sure, but why Mule Train?
I want to whip Otis for sound effects.
Mr. Diamond?
Wait a minute, Walt. I think I spotted a client.
Okay, Rick, I'll tell the committee you'll be there.
Bye.
Are you Mr. Diamond?
Yeah, unless there's a warrant out.
Mr. Diamond, I have to talk to you about a man.
Oh, don't look so unhappy. Can't talk about girls all the time.
Mr. Diamond, this is pretty serious. I'm scared stiff of him.
Why?
Because he's dead. That's right. He's supposed to be dead.
Well, bring him over. We can make a fortune from Barnum and Bailey.
I guess I better go.
No, wait a minute. Maybe you better tell me about it.
Okay. I'm Martin White. I go to Barrett College. I'm an ex-GI. I'm a senior now because I couldn't start until I was released from the hospital 3 years ago.
Hospital, huh? What was the trouble?
I got hit at casino.
How long were you in the hospital?
2.5 years.
2.5 years?
Yeah, Okay, I fell apart up there.
Oh, psychosis?
Yeah.
Go on.
The other day I was on my way to class when I saw this man I was telling you about.
The one who's supposed to be dead?
Yeah, that's right. He used to be in the same outfit with me. I saw him killed at casino.
Oh, well, so you made a mistake. So he looks like the guy.
No, it's not like that. Maybe I better tell you, and then you'll understand.
Go ahead.
Well, his name was Jarvis, Paul Jarvis. I was a captain with the 5th Army when we went into casino.
And Jarvis?
Private. He'd been with us since we pushed Rommel out of the desert. Everybody hated him.
Why?
Goldbrick. Never missed a chance to dog it. But he was smart, plenty smart. There wasn't anything we could pin on him.
Yeah, I know the type.
He was great in a street fight because he was big. And I mean really big. Big and nasty. But up on the line, he went to pieces.
Okay, go ahead.
One night, we got a report that a man answering Jarvis's description had killed a corporal in a fight. By the time the details got to me, the Germans had opened up with everything they had. I was ordered out on patrol, so I took Jarvis with me.
You took a big chance.
You know it. But there was one witness to the killing, an old man in the town. If Jarvis knew he might be identified, he'd be gone over the hill, sure. So I figured I'd watch him. Keep him with me until the Germans slowed up and we could show him to the old man. Oh, we moved up. The crowds had the main body zeroed in with their 88s. Our job was to move up, try to spot a path through the enemy artillery pattern. We had to belly down, and Jarvis and I ended up in the hole together.
They'll spot us, sure. They'll correct and drop those things all over us in a minute.
Keep your head down, Jarvis.
I tell you, they'll spot us.
Now, you listen to me. You raise your skull 1 inch out of this hole before I tell you, and so help me, I'll drill you myself.
Okay. You hate my guts, don't you?
Knock it off.
This is real funny, this is. 2 guys this close hating each other.
Next time I'll pick a bigger hole.
Captain White.
What?
About that murder.
Can it?
You think I killed the guy, don't you?
I don't think anything right now, just those cocked tanks down there.
You're thinking about it all right. You and everybody else. You all hate me because I'm not a tin soldier like you with ideals sticking out all over your fat face.
I told you to knock it off, but you wanted it late on the line, so I'll tell you. Yeah, I hate your guts. Okay?
That's good enough. I killed that Corporal, Captain White.
You're out of your mind.
I am, huh? Well, this is as good a place as any to go over the hill.
You're crazy. Get down.
Relax. I got a bayonet pointed right at your belly.
Jarvis, don't.
Go on. Cry. Whine. I'm going to put you in for a Purple Heart. Only you'll have to pin it on your blanket.
Jarvis, for the love of...
Now you're only a number on the record.
Jarvis, you dirty...
You're going to take a little while to die, Captain, so you can think about me getting out. I'm taking off, and I'm leaving the rest of the saps with all the honor and glory they want. So long, Captain. It's all yours.
Jarvis! Come back here! Jarvis! Well, it was one of those lucky things, Mr. Diamond. I got out. Spent a day and a night in that hole until the medics found me.
What about Jarvis?
I'd swear he got the 88 right on top of him.
But now you think you've seen him and you're not sure.
I'm not sure of anything right now. But I saw that 88 hit, and I saw Jarvis go down.
Okay. Let's say you did see Jarvis. He got out some way. Looks pretty simple to me. Call out the authorities and tell them you spotted a man wanted for murder. There certainly should be a lot of guys from your outfit who could identify him.
No. He's done something to his face. Maybe the shell did it for him, but I know it's him. You can't miss a guy that size.
A lot of big boys.
Sure, but he's got the same rotten eyes.
That didn't change, and that nasty smile he gets. I'd know him anywhere. In a dark room, I'd know him.
No. Well, you said you were scared. Why not go to another school?
I can't. I've got a job up there, and I've got a wife and a kid. That's why I came to you. I can't go to the police. They might put me back in that hospital. They'll think I'm slipping again. Up here.
Uh-huh. Well, let's say it is, Jarvis. What in the world would a guy like that be doing in a college?
Don't you think I've asked myself those questions? Just forget the whole thing.
No, wait, Martin. Look, if I prove to you one way or another about this Jarvis, will you forget about Casino?
Yeah.
What name is he using?
Blackwell. John Blackwell.
Okay, let's go.
Don't you get a fee or something?
Your wife a good cook?
The best.
Well, I'm staying for dinner, and after you see what I put away, you'll probably wish you'd paid the $100 a day in expenses. Usually I'm pretty hard about my fee because the trouble I get into has to be balanced on the book some way. But a young guy comes in with a real problem, and old hard-headed Diamond gets a fast softening of the skull. Well, 2 hours later, Martin White, me, and my real soft skull were on the campus of Barrett College, and in the converted Quonset hut the Whites called home.
He's hungry, Mr. Diamond.
Hiya, fella. Well, nice-looking boy.
Yeah. Takes after his mother.
Martin, if we're going to do something about this thing, we'd better get a move on.
All right, where do we start?
I think I'd like to look at this... what's the name this guy's using, you say?
Blackwell.
Oh. Well, I'd like to look at Blackwell's school record. How about it?
Oh, I think I can fix it. Let's go.
Oh, dinner's at 6, Mr. Diamond.
Yeah, we eat early because I'm night watchman on campus. I go on duty at 7.
I'll be on time, Mrs. White.
It's Nan.
Oh? Well, love corned beef and cabbage, Nan.
Well, I'll walk out with you. I have to go to the store.
Come on, Mr. Diamond. We'll walk Nan out across the street.
Martin, look out! Oh, that idiot. Must have been drunk.
Nanny, all right.
Oh, sure, but you, Martin, he came right at you.
I know. Mr. Diamond, that guy wasn't drunk.
Yeah. Well, Nan, you think you can go to the store alone?
Oh, certainly. I'm fine now.
But that car...
Now, come on, Martin. We've got to check those records.
Well, I see you at dinner. And, Martin, you listen to what Mr. Diamond has to say. That man was probably drunk.
Good girl.
Yeah. What about that car?
Could have been an accident. Let's think it was for a while, anyway.
Now, this is where they keep the records. Hello, Susie.
Hi, Martin. Well, hello.
Hello, Susie.
This is Mr. Diamond, Susie. Mr. Diamond, Susie Wirt.
It's really a pleasure, believe me.
We'd like to look at the file, Susie.
You a new professor, Mr. Diamond?
No, just a friend of Martin's.
Married?
Not a bit. Why?
Pretty square, huh?
Sometimes, but I can learn.
Yeah? Well, I might just start some night classes of my own.
Sounds like fun. In about 5 years, you let me know how your education is progressing.
Oh. Age is a problem with you, huh?
My dear, when I stumbled over 30, everything got to be a problem. Now, do you think we can,
Yes?
The records, Susie. Remember?
Yes, Susie, the records.
Oh. Okay, which ones?
We want to see the file.
Everything from B to C.
Okay. But if I get in trouble for this, you may have to make it up to me in some way.
I'll buy you a soda.
And I'll let you. Here they are. B to C.
Thanks, Susie. I'll let you know when we're finished.
Okay, be a recluse. Only I got some ideas about that, too. I'll be in the next room.
Youth. Well, let's take a look.
How come you asked for everything from B to C?
No sense in letting everybody know what we're doing. If we just asked for Blackwell's file, Susie might have said something to him. No, here it is.
Yeah, it says here, John Blackwell, 28, resident of McAllister, Oklahoma.
Hey, get a load of this. Height, 6'6", weight 240.
Like I said, he's a big one.
If he fell down, he'd be halfway home. Look, Martin, where can I find this Blackwell?
Let's see. What does it say about his classes here? It's 2:30 now. Yeah, he should be in English Lit.
Take me over there.
You want to see him?
I want to meet him.
You want to meet him?
Oh, now relax. Sooner or later, you've got to talk to him. Oh, Susie. Susie.
Yes?
Well, Susie, we're finished.
I'm not. How about that soda?
I'll take a rain check.
Lots of rain up here.
Susie?
Yes?
Bye. Well, we left Susie in the middle of a pout. And Martin took me across the campus to another building. We went up a long hall and stopped at a door marked English Lit. Martin looked in for a minute and then pointed.
That's him. That's him right there.
Now, relax. Hey, he must get a bloody nose from the altitude. He's head and shoulders over the whole room.
I'm sure of it. I tell you, when I get around to that guy, I'm sure of it. That's Jarvis.
Get back from the door. The class is breaking up.
Let's get out of here, Mr. Diamond.
No. Now, I want you to introduce me to him.
I can't. I tell you, I got the shakes.
Oh, you're going to have to face it sooner or later, Martin. Here they come.
Okay, I'll try.
There he is.
Blackwell.
He sees you.
Over here.
Now, what do I say?
Just introduce me. I'll do the rest.
Yes? You call me?
Yeah. You don't know me, but I understand you're a new student. I'd like you to drop by the fraternity house and meet some of the boys.
Oh, well, thank you. I'd be glad to.
SAE. This is Mr. Diamond, Mr. Blackwell.
How do you do?
Fine, thank you.
You a professor here, Mr. Diamond?
No, just a friend of Martin's. This your first year at college?
Yeah.
You're a little late, aren't you? What held you up? Service?
That's right.
Oh, well, I was in the Army myself. What outfit were you in?
I didn't say I was in the Army, Mr. Diamond. Matter of fact, I was in the Navy.
Oh.
Well, Mr. White, I have to be going now. When would you like me to stop by the house?
Oh, anytime. Around 6. Most of the boys are in then.
See you then. Nice meeting you, Mr. Diamond.
Yeah.
Well?
You'd never met him before. I mean, here on the campus?
No, why?
When he left, he called you Mr. White.
Yeah, and I didn't introduce myself.
Well, I do know one way to clear this whole thing up.
How?
Fingerprints. Washington's got a record of Jarvis. If I can get Blackwell's, we can compare them.
It's a swell idea, but about as easy as going after a mountain lion's molar.
Oh, I'll think of something. And you go on home and stay with the wife and baby. All right. I left Martin and cut across the street to the college malt shop. When I went in, a bunch of kids were having a time playing records and making dates, so I slipped by them and eased into a phone booth and put in a fast call to the 5th Precinct Police Station and Walt Levinson.
Fifth Precinct, Sergeant Otis.
Oh, good grief. I got the zoo.
Oh, you just call up to make whites fresh shamus?
Now, put the lieutenant on. But don't growl at him. He's close enough to snap a collar on you.
Oh. Yeah, what do you want, Diamond?
That's a pleasant way to answer the phone. What have you noticed been doing? Setting fire to the commissioner?
Oh, I give up. Where are you?
I'm up at Barrett College.
College?
Sure. I'm trying to talk the science department into bidding on your sergeant's brain. They've got gargantuas, and they need a match set.
Now, will you please be serious?
Okay, Walt. Now, look. I've run into something that has a good chance to end up looking like homicide. I can use some help.
You know that's out of my district.
Look, I just want you to do some checking for me. Find out about a John Blackwell who's supposed to come from McAllister, Oklahoma. He's a student here.
What do you want to know about him?
Oh, how long he lived in McAllister? Family, friends, the usual things. And then do some checking on a boy named Jarvis, Paul Jarvis. Check his fingerprints with the military authorities. See if he was ever in McAllister and if you knew Blackwell.
Okay. Where can I call you and how fast do you need it?
Wait a minute.
What's the matter?
I just spotted someone in this malt shop.
Are you in a malt shop?
Yeah, and I gotta hang up. I don't want to lose this boy.
Well, where can I reach you?
Call the local law and tell him I'm on the campus.
Wearing a beanie?
Funny. Pretty funny. Ah, Mr. Blackwell, isn't it?
Huh? Oh, yeah. Mr. Diamond.
That's right. Mind if I sit down?
Not at all. Just finishing my malt.
Looks good. Think I'll have one.
It is good. Good for you. Makes you healthy. Live a long time.
Well, I guess that's what we're all after.
I guess so. How long have you known Martin?
Martin White?
Yep.
Not long. How long have you known him?
Just met him today with you. Why?
Oh, nothing. Wondered how you knew his name.
Oh, he was pointed out.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I gotta be going, Mr. Diamond. This little chat has been very enlightening. Goodbye.
Goodbye. And now. Hey, waiter.
Huh? Oh, you want something, mister?
Yeah, the small glass.
Just the glass?
Don't touch it.
Well, what's wrong with it? Is it contagious or something?
Yeah. Here's $5. Give me a napkin to wrap it up in.
Oh, a collector, huh?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay, take it. I had a girlfriend who used to collect beer cans, but this is a new wrinkle.
Thanks.
Oh, it ain't nothing. Come back again and get a load of our ice cream dishes. You'll lose your mind.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't look where I was going.
Yeah.
I hope I didn't break anything of value, Mr. Diamond.
You're going to hog a sidewalk, that's for sure.
Let me help you.
I can make it.
It's a mess, isn't it? Taking one of our famous malts back home?
It might be, Jarvis.
I beg your pardon.
I said it might be, Jarvis.
Name's Blackwell, remember?
Oh, yeah, I forgot. You see, Martin White says he thinks he was in the service with you.
I told you I was in the Navy.
I didn't say Martin wasn't.
Well, you're mistaken. My name's not Jarvis.
Oh, well, isn't that funny? Martin's so sure. He was even going into New York in the morning to see if he couldn't find some of his old buddies who might have remembered you.
I hope he has a nice trip.
Well, I'll tell him when I see him.
But I don't get it, Mr. Diamond. Why did you tip him?
Oh, he knew it before I tipped him, Martin. I don't want him to skip before I can get the information on him.
But now he's sure to take off.
Not until he gets you.
Oh, Mr. Diamond, you think...
I know you'll try, Nan. Martin is the only one here at Barrett who can actually identify him. He knows I'm suspicious of him, so he'll go after Martin first and then me. He's got to make his play.
But you said that he...
Martin, give me your hat and coat.
Why? What are you going to do?
Take your place as night watchman. Whatever he's going to do, he'll try it tonight. I want him to try it on me.
No, I won't let you do it.
Look, I've pushed it this far. It's all set up.
Oh, honey, don't let him do it.
Yeah, Mr. Diamond,
Now, you two lock yourself in, and I'll come back. Huh?
Oh, please, Mr. Diamond.
Hey, the hat, that's pretty good. How about a look?
But there must be something we can do.
Oh, sure, Nan, there is.
What?
Save me some corned beef and cabbage, huh? It was dark when I walked out with Martin's hat and coat and started across the campus. I had a flashlight. The night was black, solid black. But I had a feeling that sat on my shoulder and raised goosebumps. When you've been in this business as long as I have, that feeling is an alarm ringing inside, telling you that trouble is creeping up. Halfway across the campus, I stopped. I heard nothing but the usual sounds that come with night. Dampened, muffled sounds. I walked on. And I heard it. The sound of someone walking well behind me. I stopped again. Maybe it was Jarvis. Maybe it wasn't. There was one way to find out. Keep going. If it was anyone with no business with me, okay, he'd stop following. I cut to my left, away from the main walk and toward the shadowy bulk of the college buildings. I kept going until I reached the gymnasium building. I was leading my pigeon to me. But who was the pigeon? My toes were beginning to turn in, so I figured I was. Then the bulk of the big building popped up in front of me. I tried the door. It was open. I went in, closed the door behind me. There was no light at all. Only a funny sound that I couldn't identify. A peculiar humming, and there was a smell. Chlorine. Yeah, chlorine. Now I knew where I was, an indoor pool. The hum was the filtering machinery. I wanted to turn on the flashlight, but in a place like this, I couldn't give Jarvis the tip on where I was. I had to get out, so I felt my way carefully along the tiled floor. I kept what I guessed was the middle of the walk around the pool, and then... He was in with me. I stopped, but he didn't.
White. I know you're in here. This couldn't be better. You're a sap, White, coming in here. Don't be silly, White. You know that door leads to the filtering machinery. Come on, this way. It's It's the only way out, and I'll be waiting for you. Okay. It's all the same whether you come to me or I go to you.
Stay where you are, Jarvis.
Who's that?
We met before.
You're not White.
No, I'm not.
Diamond?
Yeah. Not White, and you're not Blackwell. You're Jarvis. Surprise, Buster?
What's the difference?
None, I guess. Where's the real Blackwell?
Where you're gonna be, Diamond.
Stay right there, Jarvis.
Sure, and let you shoot off your mouth. All right, Diamond. It's all the same to me whether I get you first or White. I gotta do both. Now we'll see just how tough you are, Diamond. Well, the boy's got a gun. You missed, Diamond. And too bad the flash gave you away. Now I gotta do this fast. This is it, Diamond. Diamond, put it on. I can't swim.
No. Well, Buster, I got news for you. I'm not going to teach you. This won't take long. Just enough to get you a little waterlogged. Hold your nose, Jarvis. It helps.
Diamond.
Martin. Lights, Martin. Get 'em on.
Yeah. I have to come. Don't let you do it alone. I heard the shot and Where's Jarvis?
Jarvis? No, I think we can take him out now. He's done. Here, grab him.
Yeah. He dead?
No.
Here, give me your hand, Mr. Diamond.
Wait. I'll get my breath. You know, Martin, Jarvis was a bad soldier, but in the Navy, he had just been plain lousy.
We've got to pay you something.
Okay. Mail the recipe for your wife's corned beef to a gal named Helen, huh?
But, Mr. Diamond...
Forget it.
Hi. Jarvis won't... I mean, he won't...
Come back? Oh, no. The Army picked him up. They've got first crack at him. Then come the McAllister authorities who'd like to talk with him about the murder of John Blackwell.
So that's how he got Blackwell's papers.
Sure. Blackwell was alone in the world. He was going to come here to school, but Jarvis hitched a ride and... Well, once the guy kills... He'll do it again to beat the rap.
And Blackwell and Jarvis were both from McAllister.
Yeah. Jarvis figured this college would be a great hideout under a different name, papers all in order, but you saw him and he saw you, and that put a crimp in his plans. From there on, you know the rest. Now, I guess...
All right, I'll get it. Be back in a minute.
I'll send your clothes to you when I get back to the city, Martin.
No hurry, Mr. Diamond.
Oh, Mr. Diamond, the phone's for you.
Me? But no one knows I'm here but the McAllister police force, Levinson, Otis, Jarvis, Susie, the campus and you.
Well, he asked for you.
Oh, thank you. Hello?
Diamond?
Levinson?
Yeah.
Well, what's on your mind?
Are you all right?
Never better. Why?
Because we got the report on Jarvis. He's a bad boy. You watch yourself. Don't get caught alone with him.
Oh, sure, Walt. I'll be real careful. The only place I'll be seen with him is in a swimming pool.
Huh? And I'll cut the wisecracking. What's that? You say something?
Hold it a minute, Walt.
Oh, Bill, shh, please.
Sorry, Mr. Diamond. I guess the phone awakened him.
Diamond, what are you doing? You got asthma?
Quiet, Walt. Hold it. Martin, bring the baby here.
But he's never done this at this time.
Oh, never mind. Bring him here.
Okay, you asked for it.
Now, baby.
Stop calling me baby.
It's twilight on the prairie, and the moon will soon be high. She'll be herding every star up in the sky. We'll lope along to dreamland, and we'll bid each care goodbye, while the wind blows through the sagebrush with a sigh. So hush, little darling. Little dear, go to sleep, little darling. I'm right here. Let my shoulder be your pillow. You'll be safe as you can be. Little darling, you mean all the world to me. We'll always be together, and I promise faithfully that your dreams will all come true. Just wait and see. So hush, little darling. Little dear, go to sleep, little darling. I'm right here.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Say, what's going on over there?
Oh, now, hold it a second, Walt. I got somebody who wants to say hello to you. That's a good boy. Now, say hello to the lieutenant.
Oh, this. Get off the line.
Walt.
Yeah?
Bye.
You have just heard Richard Diamond, Private Detective, starring Dick Powell. Ed Begley played Lieutenant Walt Levinson. Also in the cast were Wilms Herbert, Paul DuBois, Sammy Hill, Jerry Hausner, Jane Webb, and Dave Ellis. Music was under the direction of Frank Worth. Richard Diamond is written by Blake Edwards and directed by Russell Hughes. Dick Powell currently may be seen in the motion picture version of the best-selling novel, Mrs. Mike. This is Eddie King inviting you to be with us next Sunday at this same time when we will again bring you Dick Powell as Richard Diamond, Private Detective. What's on NBC? Phil Harris celebrates his birthday this evening by getting into just a little more trouble than usual on the Phil Harris Alice Faye Show. Theater Guild on the Air presents Jane Wyman, Beatrice Pearson, and Mel Ferrer in the psychological melodrama The Willow and I. It's the best entertainment on the air, and it's yours for the listening today on NBC. Now stay tuned for James Melton and the Harvest of Stars on NBC.
This, I believe. Lieutenant Colonel George Stewart of the Air Force had the unique job of interpreting American life and culture to the British Armed Forces in 37 countries. Now, at the age of 60, he is also the author of a number of religious books and was at one time a lecturer at the Yale Divinity School. Here is Lieutenant Colonel Stewart.
As a sickly child of divorced parents, reared in poverty, I knew fear and want and sorrow. But as I grew older, I soon discovered also the gracious side of life. At 15, I was running a ranch by myself in southern Idaho. Not one of us could harvest our crops alone. We learned to help ourselves and one another. We were friends. Also, I discovered that if I approached the soil with labor and understanding, laid on irrigation carefully, planted right crops on suitable soil, the ground itself seemed eager to help. Both man and nature could be very cruel. That I knew well. Both could also be wonderful partners. I began to feel more confident, to believe in friendship. Neighbors loaned me books, enlarged my horizon by telling me their stories. Through them I traveled. They expanded, educated me. Gradually I grew to test action and attitude by the yardstick of friendship. I came to believe the big question to ask myself was, is this friendly or unfriendly? If it was friendly, go ahead. If unfriendly, stop. Through friends, and these friends were sometimes horses, burros, dogs, and cats, I grew up from being an oversensitive child into faith. Faith that there were plenty of decent people who wished me well, whom I could love and serve, and who might, in turn, love and help me. my sense of inferiority lost its hurting edge. It now became a benefit, a spur to study and effort. And this faith in friends led to another faith. Faith in God as shown in the gracious, dramatic life of Jesus. He seemed to me to approach people and problems with that same yardstick of friendliness, to show men the friendship of God. From that came an increased awareness of the value of my friends as individuals. I came to believe God wanted them and me to grow up, to be responsible. I saw in our one-room school, in myself and in others, that if bright pupils or the teacher gave us answers, we would never learn. There was no easy way. I had to work to get the answer myself. Reared as I was in a wide land, I naturally believed in wide liberties. But there was no meaning to liberty if it were not liberty for the individual. The individual had to be free to grow up. Whatever enlarged his area of free choice seemed to me to give him strength, was friendly and right. Later, as I traveled widely on every continent, I believed more strongly in friendship as a yardstick for action and attitude. Faith seemed increasingly valid, and the value of free individuals seemed even more precious and more necessary.
That was Lieutenant Colonel George Stewart, an author and soldier. A native of Missouri, he now lives with his wife in Dublin, New Hampshire.
Mr. District Attorney!
Radio friends, this is Harrington. I'm speaking to you from the District Attorney's office. 2 months have gone by since we captured Duke Orlando at the municipal airport. 2 months in which the District Attorney and our entire staff have been working day and night, piecing together the evidence we have collected against Duke Orlando and his restaurant racket. The Ohio Kid, the Duke's torpedo, has supplied us with much of the connecting links that we needed. He has turned state's evidence, which means he'll be a witness for the District Attorney. The District Attorney has been in court for the past 5 days, and this morning he was going to call the Ohio Kid to the stand.
Kid, I want to remind you that you have sworn to tell the truth while in the witness chair. Are all the statements you have made so far the truth? The things you described actually took place as you said?
Yes, they did.
You heard Mr. Tony, the restaurant owner, on the witness stand, say that he was threatened by Lucky Lynch and yourself. That Lucky said if he didn't join your employer's protective society, something real bad was going to happen to him or to his family.
Yeah, Lucky said that.
Did Duke Orlando give him orders to say that?
Yeah, the Duke said if any restaurant owner don't want to join, just show them how badly they need protection.
And how did you show Mr. Tony?
Well, you heard Mr. Tony tell how we bombed his house.
Who's we?
Lucky Lynch and me.
Who told you to bomb Mr. Tony's house?
The Duke.
Was that the only time the Duke ordered you to do something like that for him?
No. He was the boss of the whole racket. He gave us the orders on every job we pulled. The BB killing, the two-lawn murder. Every one of them.
Order in the court.
Well, radio friends, the case of the people versus Duke Orlando is in its final moments. While he was on the witness stand, the Ohio Kid disclosed the entire inside details of Orlando's restaurant racket. Now it looks as though we have a closed case against him. The district attorney is in court now, making a summation to the jury.
And so, gentlemen of the jury, there can be no doubt in your minds that Duke Orlando is guilty of the crime as charged. Look back on the facts that have been disclosed here in court. We have proved that Duke Orlando ruthlessly ordered the bombing of Mr. Tony's house, knowing that a little 7-year-old innocent child would be killed or maimed. We have proved that he coolly planned the death and disappearance of Beebe, the union official, that he carefully engineered a scheme to get rid of his former right-hand man, Lucky Lynch, that he... But it's not necessary for me to go on. I know as intelligent citizens of this community that you will not hesitate for one moment, that you will render a verdict of murder in the first degree. Duke Orlando is as guilty of the murder of Professor Toulon as if he actually wielded the blow.
Harrington speaking. No, the DA is still in court. Court recessed about 5 minutes ago? Oh, yes, I expect him any minute. Well, I doubt if he'll have time for that today. Right. Goodbye.
Oh, Harrington.
Well, how'd it go, DA?
Well, I think we've got the case clinched. And, of course, there's still the summation for the defense. However, I'm not worried. If Lester were still defending the Duke, I wouldn't be quite as sure of the outcome. Lester might get around the tremendous amount of evidence we brought out. But I don't think Stanton, his new attorney, will be able to. I'd like to... District Attorney speaking. He does? That's slightly irregular. Well, all right, I don't see any harm. I'll be down to see him shortly. Harrington, Duke Orlando wants to see me.
Don't tell me he wants to come clean now.
I don't know, but I'll find out soon enough. I've got some work to clean up, but as soon as I'm through, I'll be paying Duke Orlando a visit.
Hello, D.A. Hey, like my new quarters.
Not quite as nice as your own place, Duke.
They even got springs in the bed.
You won't be here long enough to worry much about that.
Trial's pretty near over, ain't it, D.A.?
Yes, but what did you want to see me about?
Well, I decided to give you a break.
That's nice of you, Orlando.
Yeah, I thought so. I'm going to confess.
Why?
Well, I don't think my mouthpiece is doing so good. If you don't do something fast, we're going to lose this case. I don't think he has my interest at heart.
You don't, eh?
No, so I thought I'd confess. Then you could let me off easy.
What gave you that idea?
Well, it'd save you a lot of trouble.
It would have, before this trial started. I gave you your chance when Lucky Lynch died. You could have given up then. It's too late now, Duke. I've got you dead to rights. You're going to the electric chair.
Still dreaming, D.A., huh? Well, too bad you won't take me up on this confession idea. Have made it very easy for you, and you could have let me off easy.
Nothing can make it easy for you now, Duke. It certainly won't be easy for you to listen to that jury's verdict.
Gentlemen of the jury, have you reached a verdict?
We have, Your Honor.
What is that verdict?
We find the defendant, Duke Orlando, guilty of the crime of murder in the first degree as charged.
Duke Orlando, have you any legal cause why judgment and sentence should not be passed upon you at this time?
No, Your Honor.
The sentence of the court, Duke Orlando, is that you should be confined to state's prison, and that on some day in the week beginning June 11th, you be put to death in the mode and manner prescribed by the laws of this state.
The electric chair? No.
Hey, sit down, Duke. You've been walking up and down for an hour. It gets me nervous. Sit down, will you?
I can't sit, I can't. Every time I sit, I think of the chair. It ain't so easy being quiet with that on your mind.
I guess it ain't. Plenty dark in these cells, ain't it, Duke? Funny they put you in the cell right next to mine.
I won't be here long, kid. But you're here for life. Life in a cell is a long time.
Life in a cell, Duke, ain't nearly so long as the time you're dead.
Yeah, I guess you're right, kid.
Duke, will you talk with me a couple of minutes? Maybe I'm getting soft, I don't know.
Sure. I ain't feeling so good myself. I'll even go further. I'm a fool. I've always been a fool, like a rubber tire, you know, you pump up full of air. Just a lot of air that don't last.
I never thought I'd hear you say something like that, Duke.
Well, I never did neither, but this is different, sitting here and thinking. You scared, kid?
Yeah.
So am I.
Hey, Duke, did you ever fall for a nice dame, a regular dame?
Once.
What happened?
She threw me over when she found out who I was. Did you ever know one?
Nah. I think I seen one once. Never got to know her, though. I guess there is good dames, though.
Ever played baseball when you was a kid?
Nah, not much. There wasn't any room on the street. Did you?
Sure. I played a swell game, too. The other kids used to call me Home Run Orlando.
Yeah?
We had a good bunch of fellas. Sure, I used to play baseball every Saturday. We had a swell team.
Have you got anybody who cares about you, whether you burn or not?
Nah.
I ain't either. Why are we here today and other guys outside?
I don't know, kid. I guess we're here because we didn't use our brains. We tried to be too smart. I can't figure it out. Life, you know, is all complicated. It's got me licked.
Duke, if you was to live your life all over again, what would you do?
You got me there. Let's see. I don't know. I think I'd like a nice little place where I could stay and never go nowheres. Just stay there and eat peanuts and maybe play the Vic and have a few friends. Just talk. Live.
But not long, Duke. Come on, put a move on. You're coming with me. We're putting you in a cell where you'll be nice and comfy, right near the death house. Sorry, Duke. Time to take a little walk. Your last walk.
Did no reprieve come? Didn't I get no stay?
Nope. Nothing's here but your death warrant.
So long, Duke.
Sorry you're going, pal.
The last mile.
Extra, read all about it. Duke Orlando dies in electric chair. District Attorney writes finished a restaurant racket. Here, read all about it. Restaurant racket ended by District Attorney.
Mr. District Attorney is a dramatization by Phillips H. Lord. All names of characters used in this program are, for obvious reasons, fictitious. Mr. District Attorney, subsequent to tonight, will come to you once a week in half-hour form commencing June 27th, 10 to 10:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time. It will not be heard during the intervening week. We present now Fred Waring. Radio. In a brief chat with Paul Douglas, he'll tell you about Pleasure Time, which is scheduled to be heard over these stations at 11 o'clock Eastern Daylight Saving Time, beginning next Monday.
Are you scared?
No, yes,
a little bit. Well, Fred, you've always been noted for the shortest half hour in radio, and Pleasure Time's going to be a new departure for you and the Pennsylvanians. But don't you feel that producing a new show every day is going to be a tough assignment?
On the contrary, Paul, I'm very pleased with the idea of 5 15-minute spots a week for this reason. We've always had twice as many ideas as we've had time in which to present them. And this is the opportunity we've been looking for, to produce all the ideas we've been keeping on the waiting shelf.
Well, I can understand that, Fred, but what puzzles me is how do you ever expect to work that enormous gang of yours into a 15-minute show? My memory serves me right. There's Donna Day, Stuart Churchill, Polly McClintock, and Fern, Two Bees and a Honey.
And the Les Paul Trio with Jimmy Atkins and Patsy Garrett and Gordon Goodman and Jane Wilson.
And the Glee Club.
Yes, and the Glee Club.
Well, that adds up to a lot of entertainment.
Well, that's not all, Paul. We plan to introduce a number of new features, too, both script and musical.
For instance?
Well, we've a new idea we hope will be an entertaining way of presenting the baseball results of the day each day.
Oh, you told me about that,
yes,
with
I
music.
Did. Yes, of course, that
rhyme.
features you, Paul.
Well, that's glad you mentioned.
And among the featured instrumentalists will be Eric Sade. He's a violinist and arranger, and he's about the tops among the English musicians. Just arrived in this country. Formerly with Ray Noble, I believe.
I met him the other afternoon. I've heard of him from Continental Records. But now, how about an inkling of these script plans?
Well, I won't tell all, but I will tell you one thing. Polly will be heard in a new role, the role of a great lover.
Astounded. Polly McClintock.
Paul, that
What?
astounded is in parenthesis there.
Oh,
You speak in an astounded tone.
All right, Polly McClintock in an astounded tone.
That's right. That's right.
Do you mean that really that croaking crooner, that fog-voiced drummer of yours is going to be a great lover?
Yeah, Polly's going off the deep end. A new love is coming into Polly's life, and her name is Inga Nelson.
Well, isn't that the girl with the Swedish dialect?
She is. She's been on the air a few times in guest appearances with Fred Allen. But to my mind, she's one of the finest young comedians of today. You know, Paul, a funny woman is hard to find.
I know. But anyway, Fred, how in the world... turn to the page.
Yeah.
That's all right. How in the world are you ever going to get all these featured soloists, musicians, choral groups, and script spots into 15 minutes? It looks as though it's going to be the fullest 15 minutes in radio.
Well, I'll confess, Paul, it sort of had me stumped for a time, but no longer. I'm working out what might be best described as a stagger system.
A stagger system?
Yes. In fact, it's a staggering stagger system. I'm having insomnia these nights, trying to figure out schedules, performers, works with arrangers, having conferences with script writers in order to plan material for our program in advance.
You'll be a very busy man, Fred.
Yes, I will. A very busy
Just
man.
one more
I have
question.
been.
What general effect will you attempt to achieve in producing Pleasure Time?
Well, the title pretty well describes it, Paul. Just a pleasant 15 minutes with all shades of variety in music. Choral arrangements will predominate, with the Glee Club featured, of course.
I think we have to get off the air, Fred.
I'm afraid
let
I
me
see
say
somebody
lots of success. And Pleasure Time, starring Fred Waring with the Pennsylvanians, will start next Monday evening, ladies and gentlemen.
So long, Paul.
7 o'clock Eastern Daylight Saving Time. This is the National Broadcasting Company, RCA Building, Radio City, New York.